Chapter 1864. Lu Ming and Huang Li's fists collided with each other. Neither of them was willing to give an inch, and they collided heavily. Dong! There was a dull roar, and a terrifying shock wave burst out from where their fists collided. The shock wave spread out in all directions of the spectator stand and crossed 100 miles in an instant. Above the spectator stand, there were experts who set up layers of defense to block the shock wave. Bam! Bam! The two figures trembled and retreated wildly. They stomped on the ground, causing the ground to rumble. Lu Ming and Desolate Li retreated at the same time, which shocked the audience. Lu Ming was not weaker than Desolate Li in a head-on confrontation. What a terrifying power! What a strong power! This is the law of force. Lu Ming squinted his eyes. Desolate Li's spiritual body was a superior heavenly spiritual body. The law that he mastered was the law of force, which was one of the Qingdao laws. It was exactly the same as Long Chen's law. Force was the ultimate force. It had boundless strength and could break all laws with force. Coupled with Desolate Li's complete great sage cultivation, his power was shocking. He could blow up a mountain and crack the ground with a single punch. Great again! Desolate Li saw that Lu Ming was a match for him in a head-on confrontation. His battle intent was ignited, and his eyes were filled with a fanatical battle intent. He rushed towards Lu Ming and threw out continuous punches like cannonballs at Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming stomped on the ground and dashed out. He circulated the hell, suppressing heaven's skill, and punched continuously with both his fists. Lu Ming had never been afraid of anyone in a head-on confrontation. Lu Ming's fists seemed to have the shadow of the suppressing hell monument. It had the power of hundreds of millions of caddies. It suppressed the heavens and was shockingly powerful. Bam! Bam! Both of their fists continued to hit each other. It was direct, brutal, and overbearing. There were roars in the heavens and the earth. Some of the weaker cultivators turned pale and almost suffered internal injuries. The two of them exchanged more than 100 blows, but there was still no clear winner. To be honest, Desolate Li was very strong. Each of his attacks was like thunder. It was terrifyingly powerful. In a direct confrontation, not many people could directly confront him like this. Lu Ming was also relying on the hell-suppressing heaven skill and the power of the primal chaos law to resist the desolate force. Lu Ming, what other tricks do you have? Use them all. Huang Li roared. All right. Lu Ming replied. The law of primal chaos surged as he abruptly tapped out with a finger. Primal chaos tribulation finger. The terrifying finger force crushed towards Huang Li. Huang Li's face was extremely solemn. He roared, and a pair of gloves appeared on his hands. He operated the law of extreme force and punched with all his might. A star seemed to appear on his fist as he punched out. He blasted it toward Lu Ming and collided with the chaos finger of calamity. It was a shocking scene. It was as if a finger of a god had tapped on a star in the starry sky. Then the star exploded and Huang Li's body retreated rapidly. It's time to end this battle, Seal, Lu Ming muttered. Following that, dense runes suddenly appeared on Huang Li's body, sealing him. Huang Li's expression changed drastically as he used all his strength to struggle. But at this moment, Lu Ming tapped out with another finger. A huge finger pressed down on Huang Li, sending him flying thousands of meters away as he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. And this was after Lu Ming showed mercy. If not, Huang Li would not have just been injured. Ha ha ha, impressive. Really impressive. Lu Ming, I've lost. Huang Li was defeated, but he laughed out loud and thought nothing of it. I just have a few more tricks up my sleeves. I might not be able to beat you in a direct confrontation. Thank you for letting me win. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, A win is a win, in a battle of life and death. Who dares to fight me head-on? However, we can fight again in the future. Next time, I will definitely beat you. Huang Li's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. All right, Let's fight again when there's a chance. Lu Ming smiled. He realized that these people from the Desolate Race were not bad. All of them were very straightforward and did not have many schemes. At this moment, the Desolate Race expert descended from the sky and landed in front of Lu Ming. Since you have jumped 2 levels and defeated Huang Li, then no one in the perfect Great Sage Realm is your match. You are free. A token appeared in the Desolate Race expert's hand as he threw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming caught it, and his face revealed a look of joy. He was finally free. Then he could search for brute crystals in the ancient wilderness region. Lu Ming, my Desolate Race's clan elder, wants to meet you. At this moment, the Desolate Race expert spoke out once again. The Desolate Race's clan elder wants to meet me. Lu Ming was stunned. That's right. I have something I need your help with. The Desolate Race expert nodded. This sentence was said through a voice transmission, so no one else could hear it. Senior, since you have invited me, I will definitely meet you. Lu Ming did not hesitate as he nodded in agreement. All right, come with me. Huang Li, you too. The Desolate Race expert flew towards the arena. Lu Ming, Huang Li, as well as Autumn Moon and Bubbles, who were in the stands, followed him. After flying out of the arena, they headed north. How spectacular! Having been here for some time, this was the first time Lu Ming came out of the arena. He sized up his surroundings. This was an ancient giant city. There were various ancient buildings in the city. They were majestic and tall. There was no end in sight. In the city, there was an endless stream of people from the Desolate Race. Not long after, they came to a majestic building and entered a grand hall. In the grand hall, there were a few burly white-haired elders sitting there. These elders did not seem to have any aura. They looked like ordinary elders. Greetings, clan elders. The Desolate Race expert and Huang Li bowed towards the elders. There's no need to stand on ceremony. The elder in the middle raised his hand slightly and looked at Lu Ming. He gave a look of admiration and said, You are Lu Ming? I just heard the news that you defeated Huang Li. Crossing 2 levels to defeat Huang Li, this old man has lived for so long, but this is the first time I've seen such combat strength. Senior, you flatter me. This junior was just lucky, Lu Ming said humbly. The few elders chuckled and did not comment. Little rascal, our Desolate Race has something that we need your help with. The elder in the middle continued speaking. You need my help? But this junior's strength is weak. Lu Ming was stunned. He never expected that the Desolate Race clan elders would seek his help with something. However, he was only at the Great Sage Realm. There were probably plenty of people in the Desolate Race that were stronger than him. What did they need his help with? The old man smiled and said, Come with me, and you'll know. Huang Li, you kids, come with me. With that said, the few elders walked out. The Desolate Force and Desolate Race experts also followed. Lu Ming hesitated for a moment before following with Autumn Moon and Bubbles. Soon, they came to a secret place. Chapter 1865. Lu Ming, the matter we need your help with is not complicated. You just need to walk from here to an altar and activate it. A Desolate Race tribal elder said. Walk to an altar? Are there any obstacles on this path? Lu Ming asked. The tribal elder nodded and said, These 3 altars were left behind by the Desolate Race's ancestors. Legend has it that they contain the Desolate Race's treasures, and they are related to the rise and fall of the Desolate Race. Unfortunately, for countless years, no one has been able to approach the altars and activate them to obtain the Desolate Race's treasures. On every path, there is a terrifying pressure. The stronger one's cultivation level, the stronger the pressure. Hence, only elites can step on it, the tribal elder explained once. So that was the case. Lu Ming's heart stirred. It was no wonder the Desolate Race wanted his help. And the previous caged battle was probably a test for him. If not, he would have regained his freedom after obtaining his 100th victory. Tribal elder, I want to try again. At this moment, Huang Li spoke. All right, go ahead and try. The tribal elder nodded. Huang Li took a step forward and walked towards the ancient path on the leftmost side. Dong! When he stepped onto the ancient bluestone path, the heaven and earth seemed to emit a roar. Huang Li's step was as heavy as a mountain. Huang Li's body trembled slightly before he stood up straight and continued walking forward. Dong! Another roar resounded as the ground trembled slightly. Huang Li seemed to be under immense pressure. His muscles bulged as the might laws covered his body. He was like an invincible god of war as he took a step forward. Dong! Dong! Step by step he took a step forward. Every step he took would emit a roar. Soon, Huang Li had taken 100 steps forward. But after 100 steps, his speed began to slow down. It was as if the pressure he was facing had increased. However, Huang Li's eyes were filled with determination as he continued walking forward. Not long after, Huang Li took 200 steps. His speed slowed down once again, but he continued walking forward. It was as if every 100 steps he took, the pressure Huang Li faced would increase. Step by step he proceeded forward. Every 100 steps, the speed of the Desolate's power would slow down. After more than an hour, Desolate Force had finally taken 500 steps. When he took the 501st step, his body suddenly shook and his face turned pale. The ancient bluestone road was 1,000 meters long, which was 1,000 steps. Only half of the Desolate's power had been used. Roar! Huang Li let out a deep roar. His eyes were unyielding as he continued to move forward. As he took a step forward, his body trembled again. However, he did not fall. Instead, he continued to move forward. Every step he took was very difficult, as if he was carrying the weight of an ancient divine mountain on his back. Not bad. There is an improvement. In the history of the Desolate race, the number of people who could reach 500 steps can be counted on one hand. The elder nodded his head. He was satisfied with Desolate Force's performance. Let's see how many steps this little guy can take, another elder said. After that, no one said anything and continued to watch. The speed of the Desolate's steps became slower and slower. Sometimes it would take more than 10 minutes to take a step. However, everyone was patient. After 3 days, the Desolate Force had finally reached the 600th step. Not bad. Even in the history of the Desolate race, few people with king bodies could reach 600 steps. One of the elders exclaimed in admiration. For Desolate Force to be able to reach this step, his future achievements would be extraordinary. After Desolate Force took 600 steps, he stopped. He stood there, as if he was meditating to recover. This stop lasted for an entire day. A day later, Desolate Force let out an angry roar and took another step forward, towards the 601st step. However, when he took that step, his body shook violently. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body flew out of the ancient bluestone road. An elder stretched out his hand to catch Desolate Force. A surge of energy surged into Desolate Force's body. Desolate Force's pale face regained some vitality. Lu Ming, as you can see, with Desolate Force's strength, he can only take 600 steps. If you can help our race open the altar, then you will be a great benefactor of our race. You will be an honored guest of our race, and you will be given the position of an outer race elder. Your status will be second only to our Desolate race elders. How about it? An elder said. Lu Ming's heart palpitated. If he helped the Desolate race open the altar, he would be given the position of an outer race elder. His status would be second only to the Desolate race elders. This power was no trifling matter, and the Desolate race's strength was unfathomable. If he could obtain the help of the Desolate race, it would definitely be an extremely powerful backer. Lu Ming secretly took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He said, "Senior, you are being too polite. This junior will definitely do his best. Also, this junior's reason for coming to the ancient savage wilderness region is to search for brute crystals. I wonder if Senior has any news of brute crystals? So you are here to search for brute crystals. Although brute crystals are precious, our race still has quite a number of them. We can give you a few in the future, an elder said with a smile. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Following that, he looked at the ancient bluestone road and said, "Then this junior will give it a try." After saying that, Lu Ming took a step forward and walked towards the left ancient bluestone road that Desolate Force had just taken. Dong! When Lu Ming took a step forward, he felt a powerful force pressing down on him. It made his body feel extremely heavy. Every step he took caused the ground to tremble. However, although this force was strong, it did not affect Lu Ming much. Lu Ming took a step forward and walked forward quickly. Dong! Dong! The ground trembled constantly. In a few breaths' time, Lu Ming had taken 100 steps. What a fast speed! He is indeed a son of chaos. A desolate race elder's eyes lit up. This kid is a bit stronger than ordinary Elysian children. Perhaps he really does have a chance. The other elder had a hopeful look on his face. The altar left behind by their ancestors had been sealed for too long. Over the eons they had tried all sorts of methods to open it, but to no avail. Perhaps there was hope now. Their desolate race was the strongest faction in the world eons ago. They were at the peak of their power and had countless experts. Eventually they competed with other powerful factions, resulting in their defeat and the deaths of their experts. Hence, they could only live in seclusion and hide in the ancient savage wilderness region. However, the treasures left behind by their ancestors were not opened by anyone. Even after so many years, the desolate race had yet to recover to its peak. The treasures in the 3 altars were their opportunity, so they naturally cared about it. Dong! When Lu Ming took 100 steps, he did not stop at all. He took a step towards the 101st step. When he took that step, Lu Ming felt an even more powerful force pressing down on him. However, Lu Ming's muscles only trembled slightly as he resisted the force and continued forward. Chapter 1866. In about a minute, he had taken 300 steps. This speed shocked the few desolate race patriarchs, as well as Huang Li and company. Following that, they were overjoyed. Maybe Lu Ming could really do it? After 300 steps, Lu Ming's speed finally slowed down. However, compared to Huang Li, he was still much faster. Not long after, Lu Ming reached 400 steps. After 400 steps, his speed slowed down again. Following that, it was 500 steps. After 500 steps, there was still no obstruction to Lu Ming. He took 1 step at a time, firmly moving forward. When Lu Ming reached his 600th step, the few desolate race members were shocked. 600 steps. Previously, Huang Li had stopped at 600 steps. Huang Li was the #1 elite of the desolate race. In the history of the desolate race, he was one of the few elites. However, Huang Li had used a few days, while Lu Ming had only used about an hour. In the history of the desolate race, the highest record was 700 steps. Lu Ming stood at the 600th step. After adjusting his breathing slightly, he took another step. Dong! A loud boom resounded as a terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming's body. However, Lu Ming's body only trembled slightly as he withstood the pressure. Following that, he took a second step, a third step. After withstanding it, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Lu Ming took 1 step at a time at a constant speed. This time, Lu Ming took an hour to reach his 700th step. This was already a tie with the desolate race's record. Following that, Lu Ming just needed to take another step to break the desolate race's record. Lu Ming stopped and spent some time adjusting his breathing to recover. Then he took another step. The 701st step caused the ground to tremble violently. The entire ancient bluestone road began to emit a green glow. Lu Ming's body was shrouded in primal chaos laws as he forcefully withstood the external pressure. What a strong pressure! It's only the 701st step, but the pressure is already so strong. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. He felt that all his muscles and bones were under a terrifying pressure, and they were all groaning. It was as if his body had become 1,000,000 times heavier. In his dantian, the two saint hearts spun rapidly, and majestic saint power filled Lu Ming's entire body. Lu Ming continued to step forward. However, at this point, Lu Ming's walking speed was greatly reduced. It was much slower than before. The people of the desolate race revealed looks of nervousness. Was it already so difficult after 700 steps? Could Lu Ming make it to the end? If even Lu Ming couldn't make it to the end, then they would really be in despair. They did not believe that there was anyone in the world who could be stronger than Lu Ming at the same level of strength. Dong! Dong! The rumbling continued. Fortunately, the area was isolated by a formation. Otherwise, the intense rumbling would have shaken the entire ancient city. This time, Lu Ming took a total of 3 hours before he reached the 100th step and landed on the 800th step. There were only 200 steps left before he would walk through the ancient bluestone path. But without a doubt, the last 200 steps were the most difficult. Lu Ming's eyes turned serious. Finally, he sat down cross-legged at the 800th step. He took out a large number of ores and began devouring them to recover. Just now, he had expended a large amount of saint power. Everyone waited quietly. After a few hours, Lu Ming finally recovered to his peak state. Then he stood up and took a step forward without any hesitation. Boom! When he took this step, Lu Ming's body violently trembled. He felt a torrential storm of power slamming into his body, as if it was about to shatter his body. What a terrifying pressure! Lu Ming's eyes revealed a look of shock. All the bones in his body began to emit creaking sounds. He was enduring a terrifying pressure, as if it was about to send Lu Ming flying. How can this pressure stop me? Lu Ming's eyes flashed like lightning. With a low growl, he continued taking steps forward, resisting the terrifying force. After the second step, Lu Ming's body still trembled. As for the hearts of the desolate race, they also trembled. It was as if every step Lu Ming took was stepping on their hearts. After Lu Ming took the second step, he paused for a long period of time before taking the third step. At this point, the pressure from the external world was too strong. If it were an ordinary person at the large success stage of the Great Sage Realm, their body would probably explode instantly from the pressure, leaving nothing behind. At this point, Lu Ming's speed became very, very slow. Every step he took required him to stop for a long period of time, devouring ores to recover. However, Lu Ming's posture remained straight. His eyes remained firm. Although it was very slow, he was still moving forward. This process lasted for a total of 5 days. 5 days later, Lu Ming stepped onto the 900th step. He was still short of the final 100 steps. Here, Lu Ming continued sitting cross-legged and began recovering. It took him 3 days to recover. 3 days later, Lu Ming stood up. Everyone in the desolate race felt their hearts hanging in the air. Could Lu Ming continue moving forward? He wouldn't be blasted down when he reached the 901 step, would he? Boom! Finally, Lu Ming took a step forward. The ground quaked as Lu Ming's body trembled violently. Lu Ming's face suddenly turned snow-white. What a terrifying pressure! It's even stronger than the pressure from before. Furthermore, there's a pressure acting on my soul, and even a pressure acting on my laws. Lu Ming's mind flashed with thoughts. After the 900th step, the pressure he had to face was omnidirectional. It was too shocking. Lu Ming was nearly sent flying, but he managed to grit his teeth and withstand it. He withstood it. The desolate race and company were overjoyed. On this ancient azure stone path, every 100 steps was a threshold. The pressure would rise to a whole new level. Hence, the first step of every 100 steps was the most difficult. Once one failed to withstand it, they would be sent flying. And once they withstood the first step, it meant that they could withstand that level of pressure. Then, they could continue moving forward. Lu Ming had withstood the 9,000 first step, which meant that there was a high chance of him walking the ancient azure stone path. How could they not be happy? However, since ancient times, no one had been able to walk past the 900th step. They also did not know what the situation would be like after the 900th step. Hence, they were still extremely nervous, afraid that there would be an unforeseen event. After taking this step, Lu Ming stopped there. After a long while, he took another step. After taking the second step, Lu Ming's body continued to tremble, but he managed to withstand it. He stopped there to meditate. After a period of time, Lu Ming took a third step. As such, Lu Ming took a step every once in a while. When Lu Ming reached the 950th step, he suddenly sat down cross-legged and took out a large number of oars. What's going on? He's about to break through, a tribal elder exclaimed. Chapter 1867. Lu Ming's cultivation level was already nearing the peak of the great sage realm, and this ancient road gave Lu Ming immense pressure. Under the immense pressure, it forced out Lu Ming's potential, allowing him to break through his shackles and enter the peak of the great sage realm. Lu Ming began devouring large amounts of ores to stabilize his cultivation level. 2 days later, Lu Ming completed his breakthrough and continued forward. The pressure has become stronger, Lu Ming muttered. With his cultivation level breaking through, the pressure from the outside world had indeed become stronger. This ancient road would change the pressure according to the warrior's cultivation level. Only those with strength that far exceeded those at the same level could step onto it. The pressure had become stronger, but Lu Ming's cultivation level had also increased. The pressure he faced was no different from before. Lu Ming continued forward. This was a long process. From the 900th step to the 1,000th step, Lu Ming's breakthrough took half a month. When Lu Ming stepped onto the 1,000th step, the desolate race patriarch, Huang Li, and company revealed looks of ecstasy. He had finally stepped onto the 1,000th step. How many years had it been? Finally, someone had traversed this ancient bluestone road. The treasure of their desolate race ancestor was about to appear. The pressure has disappeared. When Lu Ming stepped onto the 1,000th step, the pressure from the outside world instantly disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming felt refreshed and extremely comfortable. My chaos laws have broken through a little. The chaos tribulation finger should have reached 61% mastery. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. This trip had not been in vain. Following that, Lu Ming continued walking and came in front of the altar. Lu Ming, as long as you turn the altar, you will be able to open the ancestors' treasure. A patriarch reminded him, his eyes filled with anticipation. Lu Ming nodded. He grabbed the two sides of the altar and turned it forcefully. Ka-cha! The altar emitted a ka-cha sound. Following that, infinite light emitted from the altar. Following that, the light gathered, forming a circular halo. A sparkling stone flew out from the halo. Could it be a power condensation stone? One of the elders looked at the stone flying out of the circle of light. His body trembled slightly as he revealed an extremely excited expression. The other elders, Huang Li, and the others were also extremely excited. After the light circle flew out of the stone, it collapsed and disappeared. Power condensation stone. Lu Ming was curious. He held the stone in his hand. He didn't feel any weight, but he could feel a strange energy acting on his body. After that, Lu Ming returned along the ancient bluestone road. However, this time, the ancient bluestone road did not exert any pressure on him. Lu Ming took a step forward and arrived beside Huang Li and the others. Senior, here. Lu Ming handed the power condensation stone to an elder. The elder excitedly took it and carefully examined it. His old body was trembling from excitement. Power condensation stone, it really is the legendary power condensation stone. With the blessing of our ancestors, our tribe has finally found the power condensation stone. The desolate race elder held the power condensation stone in his hand and was extremely excited. The other elders were not much different. What use does this power condensation stone have to make these desolate race elders, who have lived for God knows how long, so excited? Lu Ming was extremely curious. Lu Ming, you still do not know the significance of the power condensation stone to our desolate race. This is a supreme treasure that can allow our desolate race to rise up. However, in the hands of others, it is useless, Huan Li said as he explained the use of the power condensation stone. The desolate race was an ancient race. They had special physiques. Every person's physique was extremely strong, and they had immense strength. And what the desolate race cultivated was related to strength. All sorts of martial techniques, mystic techniques, divine powers, etc. They were all related to strength. The concepts and laws they understood were all related to strength. A large number of people understood the laws of strength. As for the desolate race, if they were exposed to the power condensation stone's illumination from a young age, they would be able to improve their physique. Their physique would be stronger and their strength would be stronger. They would be able to better grasp the laws of strength, and they would even be able to easily control the laws of strength. The laws of strength were the laws of kings. If the desolate race were to produce a group of elites who could control the laws of strength, how terrifying would that be? After Lu Ming heard this, he was extremely shocked. It was no wonder the desolate race elders were so excited. This was a treasure that could really allow the desolate race to rise up. Lu Ming, our desolate race will never forget your kindness. A few of the desolate race elders bowed towards Lu Ming. Senior, please don't. Lu Ming hurriedly retreated. These desolate race elders had lived for an unknown number of years. Their cultivation levels were unfathomable, so he did not dare accept it. Following that, Lu Ming diverted the topic and said, Senior, the other two sacrificial altars. Lu Ming's gaze looked towards the other two ancient azure stone paths. Those two sacrificial altars cannot be opened yet. The second ancient azure stone path requires one to be at least at the martial emperor realm to enter. The third path probably requires an even higher cultivation level to enter. A desolate race elder explained. It requires one to be at least at the martial emperor realm to enter. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Lu Ming, I hope that when your cultivation level is high in the future, you can help our desolate race a few more times. A desolate race elder said very politely. Since Lu Ming could pass the first ancient path, he could pass the second and third paths. It was just that his cultivation level was not high enough. They naturally wanted to build a good relationship with Lu Ming. Definitely. Lu Ming nodded. This was beneficial to both parties. It was a win-win situation. The desolate race needed Lu Ming's help, and if Lu Ming needed it in the future, he would similarly need the desolate race's help. To Lu Ming, there was nothing to lose, so why wouldn't he agree? Following that, they left and returned to the desolate race's meeting hall. A desolate race elder immediately took a few brute crystals and handed them to Lu Ming. With the brute crystals in hand, Lu Ming was naturally overjoyed. On the second day, the desolate race held a huge banquet to celebrate. At the same time at the banquet, the desolate race conferred Lu Ming the title of an external race elder. His position was second only to the desolate race's patriarch, and he had great power. And the entire desolate race knew that Lu Ming had passed the ancient azure stone path and helped the desolate race obtain the energy condensation stones. Naturally, no one objected, and they all supported Lu Ming wholeheartedly. 3 days later, Lu Ming bade farewell to the desolate race's elders. He had been in the ancient savage wilderness region for several months. He had obtained the brute crystals, so it was time to leave. Calculating the time, the celestial city's Yuan Shan Sacred Institute had been in session for 2 months. Lu Ming, my race has chosen a few elites. We plan on going out with you for training. How about it? In the desolate race's meeting hall, an elder said this. That's right. From what you said, there are many elites in the outside world, and king bodies are competing for supremacy. Letting them go out for training will allow them to go further. If they stay in the ancient savage wilderness region all day, they will really think they are invincible. Another external race, elder said. This made Huang Li, who was beside him, blush. Before meeting Lu Ming, Huang Li was indeed very arrogant. He felt that he was the leader of the younger generation and was invincible. But ever since his battle with Lu Ming, he had completely lost his temper. All right, but there will probably be danger outside. Lu Ming said, only with danger can you go further. Chapter 1868. Not long after, the desolate race selected 9 young elites. They planned on following Lu Ming to adventure and gain experience. Desolate Force and Desolate Land were among them. Among the 9 people, there were as many as 5 people whose spiritual bodies had reached the superior heavenly spiritual body. The other 4 people's spiritual bodies were the intermediate heavenly spiritual body. Each of them was very powerful, and their cultivation was at the Great Sage Peak or Great Sage Perfection. Lu Ming, how many people in the outside world know about the entrance to the ancient, desolate, sacred domain? At this moment, a tribe elder asked. Probably not many, at most a few people. Lu Ming recounted Ha Zheng's matter. The desolate race has not fully emerged, so these people cannot be left alive. A tribe elder's eyes flashed. Lu Ming and I will go out and get rid of them. A middle-aged man said. He was the desolate race expert who had brought Lu Ming to meet the desolate race tribe elders in the cage battle arena. His cultivation level was at the martial emperor realm, and his name was Huang Su. All right, go ahead. The tribe elders nodded. The desolate race's exit was naturally not limited to the one that Lu Ming and company had entered previously. There were other exits, but this time they still planned on exiting through that same exit. Everyone rose into the air, and soon after, they arrived at the exit. The desolate race expert opened the exit, and a whirlpool appeared in the sky. Everyone rushed into the whirlpool and disappeared. The next moment, Lu Ming realized that they had appeared above the lake they had entered previously. Sweeping his gaze, there was no one around. Senior Huang Su, why don't you enter my mountain river diagram for the time being? I will secretly head to Desolate City, so as to not alert the enemy and scare Ha Zheng and company away. Lu Ming suggested. The desolate race people were too burly, so they would definitely attract attention when walking on the streets. As for Ha Zheng, he had entered the ancient, desolate, sacred domain before. If they swaggered into Desolate City, they might alert Ha Zheng, causing him to escape early. Huang Su and company nodded. Lu Ming kept Huang Su, Desolate Force, and company into the mountain river diagram. Only Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Bubbles headed for Desolation City. When Lu Ming and the others entered Desolate City again, they felt that the atmosphere was completely different from the last time. Now, the atmosphere of the entire barren city seemed to be very depressing. The streets were also desolate. Many shops were closed, and the restaurants were deserted. Boom! When Lu Ming's group passed by a majestic mansion, a rumbling sound came from within. A figure broke through the wall and flew out of the mansion, crashing heavily to the ground and coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. This was a white-haired old man. He was very old, and the wrinkles on his face were piled up like a mountain. This reminded Lu Ming of Uncle Kong. Whoosh! Whoosh! Following that, several figures rushed out of the mansion. One of them was a middle-aged man who stepped on the old man's face, causing his head to slam heavily into the ground. "Grandpa, sure!" a delicate cry rang out. It was only then that Lu Ming realized that the other burly man was holding on to a young and beautiful lady. "Miss, let her go. Otherwise, when the master and the others return, they won't let you go." The old man ignored his injuries and struggled to get up. He wanted to help the young woman, but the woman was kicked away by the middle-aged man. "Your master still wants to come back? He should have died in the ancient, desolate region. So what if he comes back? Do you think my Ha family is afraid of your Huang family?" The middle-aged man sneered. He looked coldly at the old man and said, "Old man, let me send you on your way." After saying that, a battle saber appeared in his hand, and he slashed at the old man. However, the saber did not hit the old man because a force flew out from the side and knocked his battle saber away. "Who is it?" the middle-aged man shouted. His eyes were like lightning as they fell on Lu Ming. "Brat, was it you?" the middle-aged man said coldly. "Looks like you're not blind." Lu Ming smiled. "Brat, you're courting death. How dare you meddle in my Ha family's affairs? You're courting death." The middle-aged man walked towards Lu Ming. When he glanced at Autumn Moon, a look of surprise flashed across his face. He said, "This woman is not bad. Take her and give her to the young master. I'm sure he'll reward you handsomely." He did not know Lu Ming and Autumn Moon. Although Lu Ming had caused quite the commotion in the desolate city, not many people had seen Lu Ming and the others. Whoosh! The middle-aged man's saber was like lightning as it slashed at Lu Ming. However, in the next moment, he felt a chill on his neck. Then he saw a headless corpse holding a battle saber running forward a few steps before falling to the ground. That was clearly his body. Then he felt his vision turn black and lost consciousness. After Lu Ming killed the middle-aged man, his body flickered a few times. With a wave of his hand, a terrifying force attacked the remaining Ha family members. These people did not have the slightest strength to resist and were directly killed by Lu Ming. Only one of them survived because Lu Ming deliberately left him alive. However, he was so frightened that his face turned pale. His body trembled as he collapsed on the ground. A stench came from his crotch. He was so frightened that he wet his pants. "Grandpa Sure, are you all right?" The young woman quickly ran to the old man and asked with concern. "Miss, I'm fine." The old man shook his head. Then, with the support of the young woman, he walked to Lu Ming and bowed. "This old man thanks young master for saving my life." "There's no need to thank me. I happen to have some conflicts with the Ha family. Senior, what happened in the desolate city? Why do I feel that something is wrong?" Lu Ming asked. "Sai, it's because of the ancient, savage, desolate region." The old man immediately gave a simple account of what had happened in the desolate city during this period. It turned out that the experts of the 6 strongest factions in the desolate city had followed Hajang to the ancient, savage, desolate region. However, only Hajang and Hamodi had returned. The experts of the other 6 factions had not returned. As a result, the situation in the desolate city had completely changed. The Ha family was now the strongest. In the past, although Hajang was the #1 expert in the desolate city with a quasi-emperor cultivation, the other 6 factions could still contend with the Ha family if they joined forces. However, no one could contend with the Ha family now. Not long ago, the Ha family had started to sweep through all the factions in the desolate city. Anyone who resisted was killed without mercy. The Ha family had wiped out the other 6 factions. The old man and the young woman belonged to the Huang family of the 6 factions. The young woman was also the daughter of the Huang family. Hamodi was lustful by nature and wanted to take the daughter of the Huang family as his concubine. That was why the scene today had happened. Lu Ming suddenly understood. Almost all the people of the other factions had died in the cage battle arena of the ancient, savage, desolate region. It was not strange for such a scene to occur in the desolate city. "Young master, you should leave quickly. Leave the desolate city. You killed the people of the Ha family. They will not let you off." The old man advised kindly. "Leave? I don't want to leave. You, quickly go back and report this." With that, Lu Ming looked at the only person of the Ha family who had not died. Chapter 1869. The old man and the young lady of the Huang clan were also stunned, their faces pale. The head of the Ha clan, Hajang, was a quasi-emperor expert. They did not believe that Lu Ming and the rest could fight against a quasi-emperor at such a young age. "Young master, don't be careless. That Hajang is—" The old man was worried and wanted to persuade Lu Ming. "It's fine. Lu Ming waved his hand and then looked at the Ha clan member. Why aren't you leaving? Do you want to die? The Ha clan member was so frightened that his face turned pale. He ran back to the Ha clan and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The old man and the young lady of the Huang clan were also pale and anxious. Senior, if you have something to do, you can leave first, Lu Ming said with a smile. Then, young master, take care. The old man did not dare to stay here. He cupped his fists at Lu Ming and then quickly left with the young lady of the Huang clan, heading out of the desolate city. Lu Ming and the rest waited quietly here. Who are they? After killing the Ha clan's people, they actually didn't leave and dared to wait here? How bold. This is called a newborn calf, not fearing a tiger. They want to be heroes, but they don't know how terrifying the Ha clan is. When the experts of the Ha clan arrive, they will regret it. Many people in the surroundings had seen the scene just now. At this time, they were watching from afar and discussing in low voices. At this time, in a courtyard of the Ha clan, Hamodi was naked and lying on top of two young and beautiful women. Although the two women looked humiliated, they still served Hamodi wholeheartedly. Hamodi felt so good that it could overturn the sky. These two young women were the young ladies of other major factions. In the past, he could only look at them, and it was not so easy to get his hands on them. But now, they served him wholeheartedly and allowed him to play with them. Hamodi was incomparably excited as his palm touched the smooth skin. A certain part of his body trembled and spurted out, causing Hamodi to let out a beast-like roar. He suddenly thought of Lu Ming and felt that he should thank Lu Ming. If it weren't for Lu Ming, how could the experts of the other forces enter the ancient, desolate, sacred realm and never return? Desolate City would become the Ha clan's sole power. When had he ever had such a good time? He had decided to toy with all the beauties in Desolate City. Just as his imagination was running wild, a loud shout came from outside the courtyard. Young master, bad news. Hamadi's face instantly darkened. He had already instructed them not to disturb him when he was working. Now that the shouting outside had completely ruined his mood, it made him very unhappy. After putting on his clothes, Hamodi walked out of the courtyard with a gloomy expression. The middle-aged man who had been released by Lu Ming was anxiously standing outside the courtyard. What is it? Why are you so flustered? Hamadi asked with a dark expression. Young master, you asked us to capture the young lady of the Huang family, but someone meddled in our business and saved her. He even killed the others. Young master, you must avenge them. Who is so daring to kill a member of my Ha clan? Cold killing intent flashed in Hamadi's eyes. Now that the Ha clan dominated Desolate City, no one dared to go against them. Yet, someone dared to kill a member of the Ha clan. They must have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall. It's a young man and a young woman with a little girl. The middle-aged man described the appearance of Lu Ming and the others. What? It's them? How is that possible? Hamadi's pupils shrank as he cried out in disbelief. Upon hearing that, he knew that it was Lu Ming, Chiu Yu, and Bubbles. But didn't Lu Ming and the others enter the ancient, desolate realm with them? Why did they come out? Could it be that Lu Ming and the others had followed Hajeng out of the ancient, desolate realm? Hamadi felt that it was very likely. Back then, Lu Ming and the others had not been very far from the exit of the ancient, desolate realm. It was very likely that after they had escaped, Lu Ming and the others had also escaped. Their luck is pretty good, but since they have escaped, they should find a place to hide. How dare they meddle in the affairs of my Ha clan? They are courting death. The killing intent in Hamadi's eyes intensified. Back then, he had been taught a miserable lesson by Lu Ming. Later, Lu Ming had captured him and used him to threaten his father. He had lost all face. So how could he not take revenge? He had thought that Lu Ming and the others had died in the ancient desolate realm. But he had not expected that Lu Ming and the others were still alive and had dared to come out and ruin his plans. Weren't they courting death? Young master, should we report this to the patriarch? The middle-aged man asked. No need. Father was injured back then and has only recovered recently. There is no need to alarm him over such a small matter. I will go and find a few elders. That will be enough." With that, Hamodi stepped forward. Lu Ming and the others were still outside the Huang clan residence. In the distance, more and more onlookers were gathering. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He looked forward and muttered, "They're here!" Whoosh! Whoosh! Several streaks of light tore through the sky and flew over at shocking speed. In the next moment, the streaks of light faded, revealing 5 or 6 figures. The person in the lead was Hamidi. Beside him were several elders, each of them exuding a terrifying aura. 2 peak utmost saints and 3 peak utmost saints. What a terrifying lineup. Hamidi actually sent out such a powerful lineup. Who are that young man and woman? Someone exclaimed in the distance. Peak utmost saints and peak utmost saints were definitely peak existences in the desolate city. But now, so many of them had been sent out just for a young man and woman. Haha, there's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. Kid, I will make you suffer today. When Hamodi saw Lu Ming, he burst into laughter. There was a cold glint in his eyes, especially when he looked at Qiuyu. Of course, he didn't dare to be careless. He followed closely behind a peak utmost saint. He would never forget how Lu Ming and the others had strangely captured him in front of Hamidi. Haha, is that so? Do you know why I'm here? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Oh, are you waiting for me? Hamidi asked. You have some brains. Not bad. I'm waiting for you to kill you. Lu Ming said. Haha, kill me? Kid, you have some battle strength, but I came prepared this time. Let's see how you can kill me. Go, cripple them for me. With that last sentence, Hamodi gave an order to the elders. Kill! Kill! The elders emitted cold, murderous intent. A total of 4 elders stepped forward. One of them was a perfected absolute saint, while the other 3 were peak absolute saints. This lineup was more than enough to kill Lu Ming and the rest. The 4 experts' terrifying auras suppressed Lu Ming and the others. They sealed off the area, afraid that Lu Ming and the others would escape. Chapter 1870. Looking at the calm expressions of Lu Ming and the others, Hamodi suddenly had a bad feeling. No, they might be able to kill an absolute saint in the greater success stage, but they're no match for a peak absolute saint. Plus, there's a peak absolute saint as well. Hamodi shook his head and threw the bad feeling out of his mind. That young man and woman are doomed. The Ha family is powerful and dominates the barren city. How dare that young man and woman provoke the Ha family? That woman is doomed. She's so pretty, but she's going to be ruined by Hamodi. Many people sighed in the distance. During this period of time, the Ha family had been domineering and overbearing, dominating the desolate city. Many people had suffered. However, no one dared to voice out their anger. At this moment, they only stood far away and discussed softly. At this moment, Lu Ming's glabella shone and a picture flew out. It was the mountain river picture. A tall and burly figure stepped out of the mountain river picture. Seeing this figure, Hamodi's pupils shrank. His eyes were filled with fear as he shouted, "Oh no, retreat!" It was Huang Su who had come out of the mountain river picture. Hamodi had entered the ancient barren city and met the desolate race. He immediately recognized that Huang Su was the one who had attacked them, but it was too late. Boom! Boom! Huang Su punched out a few times. Terrifying fist strength tore through the air as if it could crush everything. The terrifying might made the 3 top absolute saints and the one in the absolute saint realm of the absolute saint realm of the absolute saint realm turn pale. But they couldn't escape from a martial emperor. The fist light tore through the void and crushed through. The 4 experts didn't even have time to scream before their bodies exploded. Under the destructive power, they turned into ashes. Hamodi was almost scared to death. Run! Run! Hamodi yelled as if he had gone mad. He told the other absolute saint of the peak to take him and run away. However, a huge hand reached out from the ruins and grabbed at the air. A huge palm appeared out of nowhere, grabbing Hamodi and the saint expert. Terrifying energy surged into them, and their cultivations were both crippled. Hamodi screamed miserably. Everyone in the surroundings was dumbfounded. They simply could not believe what they were seeing. 2 absolute saints at the peak of the absolute saint realm and 3 absolute saints at the peak of the absolute saint realm. This was a powerful force, but Huang Su had crushed them like ants. Martial Emperor! This is a martial emperor! Who are those young men and women? He actually has a martial emperor backing him. He must be a genius from a powerful faction outside of Desolate City. No wonder he is so calm. It turns out that he has a martial emperor with him. The eyes of even more people lit up. Would the appearance of a martial emperor change the current situation of Desolate City? Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared beside Hamodi. His saint power was like a saber. With a slash, he killed the perfected absolute saint. "Don't kill me! Don't kill me!" Hamodi almost peed in his pants as he let out a shrill scream. "Don't worry, I won't kill you." Lu Ming lifted Hamodi by the neck and said, "Let's go to the Ha clan." After saying that, he walked towards the Ha clan, mid-autumn moon desolate ruins. "We're going to the Ha clan. There's going to be a good show. I wonder if the martial emperor will attack the Ha clan. Let's go and take a look." The people in the distance were looking forward to it, hoping that the martial emperor would attack the Ha clan. If he could destroy the Ha clan, the situation of Desolate City would change again. This place was not far from the Ha clan. Soon, they arrived in front of the Ha clan's residence. "Ha Zheng, come out and die!" Lu Ming shouted. His voice reverberated throughout the entire Ha clan's residence. "Who's here to die?" A loud roar came from the Ha clan's residence. Then a terrifying aura burst out. A ray of light flashed, and Ha Zheng appeared in the air. "Kid, it's you?" "Hamodi." Ha Zheng looked around and saw Lu Ming. His eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Then he saw Hamodi in Lu Ming's hand. "Kid, let go of Hamodi. Otherwise, I'll tear you to pieces," Ha Zheng shouted. But halfway through, he stopped abruptly. It was as if something was stuck in his throat. His eyes stared behind Lu Ming and at Huang Su. He had not noticed Huang Su earlier. Now that he saw Huang Su, his eyes were filled with fear. Swoosh! The next moment, Ha Zheng turned around and fled. How could he still care about Hamodi? Trying to run away in front of me? Huang Su's cold voice sounded. Then he took a step forward. Then a huge foot formed above the Ha clan's residence. It was like the foot of a deity covering the entire Ha clan. Under the huge foot, Ha Zheng was like a small boat in a storm that could be destroyed at any time. He roared. The river of law surrounded his body. He erupted with all his strength, wanting to break out of the area covered by the huge foot. But it was all in vain. The huge foot stomped down. Ha Zheng screamed in pain. His body was torn apart and turned into ashes, dissipating between heaven and earth. A quasi-emperor died just like that. A martial emperor was too strong. Those below the martial emperor realm were like ants in front of a martial emperor. They could not contend at all. It was the same even for a quasi-emperor. After killing Ha Zheng, the huge foot did not stop and continued to stomp down. Beams of light rushed out from the Ha clan's residence, wanting to escape. But under the huge foot, all of this was just wishful thinking. One figure after another exploded in the air, dying on the spot. Boom! The huge foot stepped into the Ha clan's residence. The vast residence exploded and turned into ashes. The entire Ha clan was wiped out from the world. All right, this way, no one will know the entrance to the ancient wilderness region. Huang Su smiled. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. A trace of reluctance flashed in Autumn Moon's eyes. With one move, the entire Ha clan was wiped out. This was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. Originally, he thought that Huang Su would only kill some of the Ha clan's higher-ups. He did not expect Huang Su to be more direct and wipe out the entire Ha clan with one move. Then Lu Ming sighed in his heart. The martial world was a world where the strong preyed on the weak. It was very cruel. There might be many innocent people in this world. But in Huang Su's eyes, why would he care? Perhaps in his eyes, ordinary people were like ants. If not for his talent, which had gained the attention of the desolate race and helped them greatly, he might also be an ant in Huang Su's eyes. In such a world, Lu Ming had to constantly become stronger so that he would not be treated like an ant by others and easily wiped out. Let's go! Lu Ming sighed in his heart and turned to leave. On this day, the overlord of the desolate city, the Ha clan, was wiped out. Their entire family was wiped out. On this day, it was rumored that Hamodi had offended a peerless elite that he should not have offended. This person brought a martial emperor and wiped out the Ha clan. Chapter 1871. Everything in Desolate City had nothing to do with Lu Ming anymore. Half a month later, Lu Ming and the rest returned to the ancient Moon Holy Land, Great Development Pill Palace. Huang Su did not go with them. After Huang Su destroyed the Ha family, he returned to the ancient sacred region. Lu Ming brought Huang Li and the rest to the Great Development Pill Palace. After returning to the Great Development Pill Palace, Lu Ming immediately made a trip to the Phoenix Palace. Sure enough, he found out that the Origin Mountain Holy Court in Celestial City had been held 2.5 months ago. Almost all the famous geniuses in the ancient Moon Holy Land had rushed to Celestial City. Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the rest naturally also went to Celestial City. Without the competition of the younger generation of geniuses, the ancient Moon Holy Land suddenly quieted down. But one could imagine how lively and intense Celestial City would be. Lu Ming also planned to go to the Origin Mountain Holy Court in Celestial City. When Huang Li and the rest knew that the geniuses of the Origin Mountain Holy Court were gathering, they all revealed a strong fighting spirit and were extremely excited. The main purpose of them following Lu Ming out was to gain experience and clash with other geniuses to improve themselves. Moreover, the desolate race loved to fight. With so many geniuses gathering, they were naturally excited. Lu Ming and the rest did not delay. On the third day after returning to the Great Development Pill Palace, they went to the Phoenix Palace and took the Phoenix Palace's teleportation array to Celestial City. As for Ouyang Moli, Lu Ming let him continue to stay in the Great Development Pill Palace and cultivate with Uncle Kong. And after this period of cultivation, Xuanixin's cultivation had also broken through to the Bright Sage realm. Lu Ming brought Xuanixin to Celestial City. Celestial City was located in the central region of the Origin Mountain Land. It was the head of the Origin Mountain 9 Great Holy Lands. Legend had it that it was built by an invincible celestial emperor powerhouse. The cultivation conditions were unique, but that celestial emperor powerhouse was said to have fallen a long time ago. Later on, Celestial City was occupied by many powerful forces and developed into an incomparably powerful force. In the 8 directions of Celestial City, there were 8 citadels. If the forces in the other regions of the Origin Mountain Land wanted to reach Celestial City, they could only teleport to one of the 8 citadels. Lu Ming and the rest teleported to the southernmost citadel, then flew towards the Celestial City. Even from afar, they could see a vast and boundless city ahead. It was filled with a majestic aura. When they approached the Celestial City, they could feel a terrifying pressure permeating the air. It was as if there was a supreme existence residing in the Celestial City. When they walked into Celestial City, what entered their eyes were all ancient buildings. It was unknown how long they had been preserved for. They asked someone to inquire about the location of Yuan Mountain Holy Courtyard. Currently, there was no one in Celestial City who didn't know about the Primordial Mountain Holy Courtyard. It was jointly created by several great emperors. Geniuses gathered in the entire Yuan Mountain, attracting the attention of countless people. They easily found out the location of Yuan Shan Holy Courtyard and headed towards it. The Celestial City was incomparably majestic and vast. It was just a city, but its surface area was much larger than the ancient moon holy ground. They spent a lot of time to find Yuan Mountain, holy courtyard. On the tall and majestic gate, there were 4 words written on it. Origin Mountain Holy Court. Stop, what are you doing here? A middle-aged man blocked Lu Ming and the rest's path. Senior, we are here to join the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard. Lu Ming cupped his fists and told the middle-aged man the purpose of his visit. You're only here to join the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard now. The Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard has been held for more than 2 months. Don't you know? The middle-aged man's face sank and said, Senior, we were delayed because we had something important to do. As soon as the matter was done, we rushed over. Please make an exception. Lu Ming said politely, It's not impossible to make an exception. The great emperor has ordered that those who come late can also enter the holy courtyard, but the requirements are higher. Show me your cultivation and let me see. The middle-aged man said, All right. Lu Ming and the rest nodded. Then, one by one, their aura spread out. Great Sage Realm, what? So many Great Sage Realm? When the middle-aged man sensed it, his face suddenly changed. Lu Ming's group of more than a dozen people were almost all Great Sage Realm cultivators, and all of them were above the peak of the Great Sage Realm. Only Xuaningxin was a bright Sage Realm cultivator, especially Huang Li and the others. Each of them was burly, and the shortest one was more than 2 meters tall. Which force did they come from? After taking a deep breath, the middle-aged man calmed down and said, I am a teacher of the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard. Let me tell you, the minimum requirement to join the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard is to reach the Bright Sage Realm, and your spiritual body must also be a heavenly spiritual body. So, I will also check your spiritual bodies. Come with me. After saying that, the middle-aged man went inside the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard, and Lu Ming and the rest followed. When they walked into the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard, at a glance there were magnificent divine mountains in the depths of the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard, towering into the clouds. On the divine mountains there were various buildings and palaces built, and some flat lands. There were also various buildings built. Although every inch of land in Celestial City was expensive, and it was impossible for ordinary forces to live in it, the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard was jointly built by several great emperors. Naturally, it occupied a vast territory, and no one dared to say a word. Soon they came to a hall. In the center of the hall, there was a crystal-like stone tablet. This crystal tablet was refined by the great emperors. It can detect the spiritual body's level. One by one, walk into the crystal tablet, and I will have a way to know your spiritual body's level. The middle-aged man said, Let me go first. Huang Li left the ancient sacred realm for the first time, and he was very curious about everything. He was the first to step forward and walked in front of the crystal tablet. The crystal tablet immediately emitted a light, enveloping Huang Li. Then the crystal tablet emitted a strange light. High-grade, heavenly spiritual body. The middle-aged man was a little surprised, and then a book appeared in his hand and said, What is your name? I need to register your information. Huang Li. Huang Li reported his name, age, etc. Well, you can enter the Origin Mountain Holy Courtyard next. After the middle-aged man filled in the information, he looked at the others. Huang Li retreated, and Huang Di went forward. Another high-grade, heavenly spiritual body. The middle-aged man stared. Although he had seen countless elites in this period of time, those with a high-grade, heavenly spiritual body were few and far between. He never expected that there would be 2 of them today. After he registered Huang Di's information, another youth from the desolate race came forward. It's still a high-grade, heavenly spiritual body. The middle-aged man drew a cold gasp. For 2 high-grade, heavenly spiritual bodies to appear consecutively, and at the same time, this was incredible. However, his surprise did not end there. Following that, his surprise turned into shock. Among the 9 desolate race elites, 5 had high-grade heavenly spiritual bodies, and 4 had middle-grade heavenly spiritual bodies. As for Lu Ming and Autumn Moon, they had high-grade heavenly spiritual bodies. When Bubble went up for the test, it showed that she had a high-grade heavenly spiritual body. This left the middle-aged man dumbfounded, and his heart was in turmoil. Who were these people? There were so many high-grade heavenly spiritual bodies. Were there any king bodies among them? Chapter 1872. Finally, when it was Xuanixin's turn, he let out a sigh of relief. Low-grade heaven spiritual body. Xuanixin's original spirit body was not a heaven spirit body. However, before Lu Ming went to the ancient sun's sacred land, he had refined Xuanixin's spirit body with the great expansion cauldron, allowing Xuanixin's spirit body to reach a low-grade heaven spirit body. Well, the test is over. You can all join the Origin Mountain, Holy Court. Wait for me here. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, he turned around and left. Not long after, he returned. With a wave of his hand, more than a dozen jade tokens appeared in the air and flew to Lu Ming and the others. This is your identity token. Take it. It means that you are a member of the Origin Mountain Holy Court. Also, the Origin Mountain Holy Court is very big and spacious, so you can choose your residence at will. Those mountains you saw before, as long as no one lives there, you can choose them. The middle-aged man said, "Thank you, teacher." Lu Ming and the others took it and thanked him with cupped fists. Well, there is one more thing. I want to remind you that the Origin Mountain Holy Court does not forbid fighting, killing, or crippling the other party's cultivation. Everything else is up to you. The middle-aged man warned. Lu Ming and the others nodded. The geniuses who joined the Origin Mountain Holy Court were the top geniuses from all over the world. The weakest of them was a heaven spiritual body with the potential to become an emperor. If fighting was not allowed, with so many geniuses fighting, they would suffer heavy losses. However, fighting was not allowed. This could motivate the geniuses and put pressure on them, forcing them to continue to improve. Well, you can go now. The middle-aged man waved his hand, and Lu Ming and the others left. Then Lu Ming took out a voice transmission jade token and sent a voice transmission to Long Qin and Huang Ling. Soon, a few figures flashed over. It was Huang Ling and Long Qin. There were also a few familiar faces, Mu Qingxue and Yi Dongfang of the Thunder God sect. Lu Ming. Brother Lu. Several people greeted Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, you're finally here. Who are they? Huang Ling smiled and looked at Huang Li and the others with a surprised look. Where do you live? Let's talk while we walk. Lu Ming said. Some of our acquaintances live on a mountain peak. I'll take you there, Huang Ling said. After that, the group of them headed towards the depths of the Yuan Shan Sacred Academy. Not long after, they arrived at a mountain peak. On this mountain peak, there were many courtyards. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, several figures flew out. These people were all geniuses from the Phoenix Palace, the Divine Elephant sect, and Mu Qingxue's sect. They were all on good terms with each other and lived on the same mountain peak. Everyone greeted Lu Ming and the others. Then they landed in a courtyard. Lu Ming introduced Huang, Li, and the others. Of course, Lu Ming did not mention that Huang Li and company were members of the Desolate Race. After all, the Desolate Race had yet to appear. You also control the law of force? Huang Li looked at Long Qin. His eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. The law of strength erupted from his body, and he was filled with terrifying power. A powerful aura exploded from Long Chen's body as he stared at the power of desolation. He activated the power of desolation law and revealed his fighting spirit. It's a pity that your cultivation is still a little lacking. Once you break through to the great sage perfection, let's have a good fight. Huang Li licked his lips. His fighting spirit was even stronger. That's what I want. Long Chen's eyes were filled with a blazing light. The law of kings was the top law between heaven and earth. In ordinary times, the king physique was extremely rare. Only in the current golden age would there be a situation where the king physique contended for supremacy. However, for the same king physique to appear in the same era, or even more, was even rarer. It was rare since ancient times. Long Chen and Huang Li both controlled the law of force. When they met, there was no reason for them not to fight. Moreover, when the two of them fought with the same king physique, it was extremely beneficial to their cultivation. This big guy is also a king physique. The other geniuses from the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant Sect looked at Huang Li in shock. Long Chen and Huang Li looked at each other and then retracted their aura. Everyone chatted for a while. Lu Ming mainly asked about the situation of the Sacred Academy of Yuanshan. The geniuses of the Sacred Academy of Yuanshan are beyond our imagination. Not only are there geniuses from the 9 great holy lands, but there are also geniuses from many emperor-class factions. Even those ancient races that have been living in seclusion have appeared and joined the Sacred Academy of Yuanshan. Huang Ling said, "Ancient races." Lu Ming raised his eyebrows and thought of the desolate race. Those ancient races are called the ancient races. They are forces that have been around for countless years. They have existed since ancient times. Many of them are not in the 9 great holy lands. Instead, they live in their own small worlds. Their heritage is extremely deep. No one knows how strong they are. This time, for some reason, many of the ancient races have appeared. Their talent and strength are extremely shocking. There are many king physiques. Huang Ling said again. The ancient races, Huang Li, and the others' eyes were filled with fighting spirit. It seems that the Sacred Academy of Yuanshan is really a gathering place. All the geniuses from the 9 great holy lands have gathered. There are even ancient races geniuses. Interesting. Lu Ming's eyes were also filled with fighting spirit. Huang Ling, Long Qin, get out here. At this moment, a loud roar came from outside. It's Mo Lang and the others. Huang Ling, Long Qin, and the others' faces suddenly turned ugly. Damn it, these guys really don't give up. Someone growled. Huang Ling, Long Qin, get out here. That voice came again. Lu Ming, you guys sit for a while. I'll go and settle this. Long Qin stepped out and walked out of the courtyard. I'll go too. Huang Ling followed him out. Some of the geniuses from Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect also followed. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He did not get up. Instead, he spread out his spiritual consciousness and saw everything outside. Outside, Mo Lang, the Golden Crow Second Prince, and some other geniuses were there. There were 7 or 8 of them. They were all top geniuses from the ancient moon, sacred ground. They stood in the sky and looked down at Long Qin, Huang Ling, and the others. Huang Ling, Long Qin, have you guys thought about it? Our patience is limited. Mo Lang sneered. You want us to join you? Impossible. Get out of here. Long Qin scolded. Humph. You should know the consequences of rejecting us. The Wind Tribe wants you to join us because they think highly of you. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The Golden Crow Second Prince's body was covered in the divine sun fire. His eyes flashed sharply. Don't you understand human language? Get out of here. Long Qin shouted as a powerful aura erupted from his body. During this period, Long Chen's cultivation had also broken through and reached the peak of the Great Saint Realm. He was not far from the Great Saint Realm of the Great Saint Realm. Obviously, he had made great progress in the past few months. Long Qin stepped into the air and walked toward Mo Lang and the others. Mo Lang and the others' faces changed drastically. Chapter 1873. At that moment, the cry of a phoenix could be heard. Huang Ling was bathed in the undying flames as a phoenix soared into the sky. Huang Ling's cultivation was similar to Long Chen's, reaching the peak of the Supreme Saint Realm. The other sky prides of the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant Sect also unleashed their auras as they stared at Mo Lang and the others with hostility. Mo Lang and the others' expressions changed as they subconsciously retreated. Stubborn. Don't think that you can fight against the Wind Clan's sky prides with your cultivation. Just you wait. Let's go. The Golden Crow's second prince said coldly before leaving with Mo Lang and the others. Huang Ling and Long Qin looked at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. Then they returned to the courtyard. Huang Ling, Long Qin, what's going on? What's the Wind Clan's background? Lu Ming asked. The Wind Clan is an ancient clan, and the place where they live in seclusion is the ancient moon, sacred ground. Some time ago, the Wind Clan appeared, and their sky brides came out and joined the Origin Mountain's sacred ground. The Wind Clan sky brides are extremely domineering. They want to establish a force in the Origin Mountain's sacred ground and force the other sky brides of the ancient moon, sacred ground, to join them. Mo Lang, the Purple Extreme Sect, the Golden Crow Clan, and other forces all joined the Wind Clan's camp. Only we didn't join the ancient moon, sacred ground. Huang Ling explained. They're too domineering. It's our freedom to join them or not. But the Wind Clan said that if we don't join them, we won't be able to stay in the Origin Mountain, sacred ground. Mu Qingxue added with an ugly expression. The Wind Clan? The ancient moon sacred ground has an ancient clan living in seclusion. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a sharp light. How strong are the sky prides of the Wind Clan? Lu Ming asked. The strongest sky prides of the Wind Clan is called Wu Fengqin. He has a king body, and his spirit body is also a superior sky spirit body. He has mastered the law of destruction, heavenly wind, and has already reached the supreme saint realm. He's the strongest sky prides of the Origin Mountain, sacred ground. Huang Ling said. A supreme saint king body, no wonder he's so arrogant. Lu Ming frowned slightly. He had a king body and had reached the absolute saint realm. His battle prowess was definitely terrifying. At this moment, there was a sharp cry in the distant sky. A golden ray of light flew toward the place where Lu Ming and the rest were staying at a terrifying speed. It was a three-legged golden crow. When it spread its wings, it was at least 100 meters long. Its entire body was bathed in the divine fire of the great sun, making it look like a sun. It's the Golden Crow Crown Prince. He's probably going to deal with Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others. The Feng clan wants to unify the geniuses of the ancient moon holy ground. It is obvious that they have taken a fancy to Huang Ling and Long Chen's talents. However, although the two of them are talented, their cultivation levels are still low. I am afraid that they will not be able to contend against the Feng clan. Let's go take a look. Many geniuses on the nearby mountain peaks sensed it and flew into the sky to watch from afar. The three-legged golden crow was extremely fast. In just a few breaths' time, it had reached the place where Lu Ming and the others were staying. With a flap of its wings, a large amount of divine sunfire poured down on Lu Ming and the others. At this time, Lu Ming and the others were chatting. Suddenly, everyone's faces changed. Divine sunfire, damn it! Huang Ling and Long Qin shouted angrily at the same time. They shot into the sky and attacked, extinguishing the divine sunfire. Lu Ming, Huang Li, and the others' expressions changed. They were not in a hurry to attack. Caw! A loud cry resounded in the sky. A young man in a golden robe appeared in the sky. His eyes were like lightning, and he was extremely domineering. Behind him, a pair of golden crow wings flapped slowly. A terrifying aura enveloped the entire mountain peak. Absolute Saint Realm. Lu Ming's heart jumped. This three-legged golden crow's cultivation was at the absolute Saint Realm. The Golden Crow Crown Prince, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others whispered. Their eyes were solemn. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was extremely famous in the ancient moon sacred ground. Before the Feng clan appeared, he was one of the strongest geniuses in the ancient moon sacred ground. Especially after joining the Origin Mountain sacred ground. He had used the resources of the Origin Mountain sacred ground to break through to the absolute Saint Realm. Whoosh! Whoosh! Behind the golden crow crown prince, more than a dozen figures appeared. It was Mo Lang and the others. Huangling, Longchen, I advise you to surrender and join us. Don't make any unnecessary resistance. You should know that resistance is futile. Mo Lang said coldly with a haughty expression. If you want to be the dogs of the Feng clan, go ahead. We're not interested. Longchen said. How dare you? The golden crow crown prince flapped his wings and flames spread out. He looked even more majestic. He glanced at Longchen and Huangling coldly and said, Although I can't kill you in the Origin Mountain sacred ground, I can still severely injure you. If you don't agree, I'll beat you up every time I see you. I'll make sure you can't stay in the Origin Mountain sacred ground. A sick bird. How arrogant. Did you open the Origin Mountain sacred ground? A mocking voice could be heard from one of the courtyards. Who's there? The golden crow crown prince's face darkened as he looked at the courtyard. He dared to call him a sick bird, courting death. Then, more than a dozen figures stepped out. The one in front was Lu Ming, followed by Huang Li, Qiu Yu, and the others. Lu Ming, Mo Lang, the golden crow second prince, and the others' faces suddenly changed. So you're Lu Ming. The golden crow crown prince's eyes turned colder. That's right. Lu Ming smiled. Good, very good. If I wasn't in Celestial City, how could you behave so atrociously in the ancient moon, sacred ground? I thought you wouldn't dare to come to the ancient moon, sacred ground. Since you're here, I'll teach you a lesson today and avenge my ninth brother. A cold, murderous intent flashed in the golden crow crown prince's eyes. If it wasn't for the sacred ground's prohibition of killing, he would have killed Lu Ming. However, even if he couldn't kill Lu Ming, he could still humiliate him. He could trample on Lu Ming in front of everyone and make him unable to raise his head in the Origin Mountain sacred ground. Boom! Boom! The golden crow crown prince continued to step forward. The great sun divine fire on his body became even hotter. The flames filled the sky, and his aura was wild as he pressed down on Lu Ming. Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others unleashed their auras and were ready to fight. I didn't expect to meet such a character. Leave this bird to me. Behind Lu Ming, Huang Li grinned. His eyes were filled with a strong battle intent as he stepped out and walked toward the golden crow crown prince. Lu Ming stood still. If Huang Li wanted to fight, then he would let him move. You're merely at the great sage realm. Kneel down. The golden crow crown prince looked arrogant as he glanced at Huang Li. He threw out a palm and flames gathered to form a giant flaming palm that slammed down on Huang Li. Kneel down! Sick bird! You're the one who's going to kneel down. Huang Li roared as his muscles bulged. He threw out a punch and exploded the giant flaming palm. His body did not stop as he rushed toward the golden crow crown prince and threw out a punch. Chapter 1874. Boom! Desolate forces. Fist clashed with the golden crow crown prince's claw. Instantly, the golden crow crown prince's face changed, and he quickly retreated. His hand trembled as he felt a sharp pain. His finger had almost been broken by Desolate Force's punch. Lu Ming is right. You are indeed a sick bird. Desolate Force grinned. The other youths from the Desolate race burst into laughter. The golden crow crown prince said angrily as his eyes flashed with cold, murderous intent. He had been careless just now. Furthermore, he had never expected Desolate Force's punch to contain such terrifying power. Kill! The golden crow crown prince roared as he transformed into a huge, three-legged golden crow. His cultivation level of the Paragon Saint initial stage exploded as he flapped his wings and charged towards Desolate Force. The terrifying great divine sun fire seemed to be able to burn everything as it surged towards Desolate Force. Desolate Force wore a pair of gloves on his hands as he circulated the great force law. His fists constantly punched out. Every punch produced a terrifying roar in the sky as it formed a vacuum tunnel. The terrifying fist force blasted towards the golden crow-crown prince and destroyed the great, divine sunfire. Swoosh! The golden crow-crown prince's body shrunk to the size of a normal person. But his speed was even more astonishing. He charged towards desolate force like a golden beam of light. His 3 golden crow claws were extremely hard, as if they could pierce through everything. He grabbed at desolate force while his wings slashed at desolate force like blades. Desolate force stood still in the void as he constantly punched out with his fists, clashing violently with the golden crow-crown prince. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of blows, and desolate force managed to withstand the golden crow-crown prince's attacks. Superior heaven's spiritual body, Lu Ming muttered. The golden crow-crown prince's spiritual body was also a superior heaven's spiritual body. With his cultivation level reaching the Paragon Saint realm, his combat power was indeed very strong. Lu Ming knew that although desolate force could withstand the attacks for a while, he would definitely lose over time. After all, a supreme saint was too far away from a paragon saint. Great force law. It's a king body. The elites who had been attracted by the battle from afar were shocked. Even Yuan Mountain's sacred academy, which was filled with elites, did not have many king bodies. Every appearance of a king body would attract attention. Once the king body grew up, it would be absolutely terrifying. The intense battle between Huang Li and the Golden Crow-Crown Prince continued. But as Lu Ming expected, the Golden Crow-Crown Prince's attacks became more and more violent. Huang Li gradually lost ground and was suppressed. "I'll go help him." Behind Lu Ming, a figure stepped out. It was Autumn Moon. 2 scimitars flew out from Autumn Moon's body. One was extremely cold while the other was extremely hot. The 2 scimitars spun and transformed into a destructive force that charged toward the Golden Crow-Crown Prince. The terrifying power shocked the Golden Crow-Crown Prince. He immediately unleashed his power to counterattack. The divine fire of the great sun and the autumn moon's power collided. However, the Golden Crow-Crown Prince still underestimated Autumn Moon. The 2 scimitars broke through the divine fire of the great sun and slashed towards the Golden Crow-Crown Prince. The Golden Crow-Crown Prince quickly retreated in shock, but he was still hit by the scimitars. Golden feathers fell from the sky. "Bah! A sky full of bird feathers! Kill!" Huang Li shouted. He charged toward the Golden Crow-Crown Prince and kept attacking with his fists. On the other hand, Autumn Moon cooperated with Huang Li and used the laws of yin and yang to attack the Golden Crow-Crown Prince. The Golden Crow-Crown Prince used all his power to fight against the two, but he was forced into a disadvantageous position. Another king body. Why are there so many king bodies? In the distance, many people were shocked. Huang Li and Autumn Moon were both new, and they were with Huang Ling and Long Chen. This meant that Huang Ling and Long Chen's group had 4 king bodies. 4 king bodies, but their cultivation was still a bit weak. If they all became absolute saints, how powerful would that be? Despicable. 2 against 1. The Golden Crow-Crown Prince roared. An absolute saint fighting a supreme saint. How dare you say that? How about this? Let's fight at the same level. That's only fair. Lu Ming glanced at the Golden Crow-Crown Prince and the others with disdain. The Golden Crow-Crown Prince and the others were tongue-tied. They were speechless. If they were at the same level, only those with a king constitution could contend with them. There were so many king constitutions on Lu Ming's side. What could they use to fight at the same level? Their advantage was their cultivation level. How could they give up their advantages and take advantage of their weaknesses? Miss Autumn Moon, you're from the one only sacred palace. Are you going to interfere with our business? The Golden Crow-Crown Prince turned his target to Autumn Moon, hoping that Autumn Moon would back out of this. But Autumn Moon didn't care about the Golden Crow-Crown Prince. She attacked even more fiercely. Huang, Li, and Autumn Moon attacked at close range and from afar. They cooperated with each other, and their combat power was amazing. The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared, but there was nothing he could do. The Golden Crow Crown Prince used all his strength, but he was at most on par with Autumn Moon and Huang Li. He was even at a disadvantage at times. Although the Golden Crow Crown Prince's cultivation was strong, and he had reached the initial stage of the Absolute Saint Realm, he had just broken through. Besides, the law he controlled wasn't the King Way. As for Autumn Moon and Huang Li, they had reached the Great Saint Realm and were not far from the Absolute Saint Realm. The two of them together weren't weaker than the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The two sides exchanged dozens of blows, but it was still hard to determine the winner. That's amazing. There are two king bodies. Moreover, they came with Lu Ming. Huang Ling and Long Chen were still okay. After all, they had seen Autumn Moon before. But the other elites from Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect, as well as Mu Qingxue and Yi Dongfang, were shocked. There were two king bodies who came with Lu Ming, and their cultivation levels had reached the Great Saint Realm. They were stronger than Huang Ling and Long Chen. How strong were the rest? Many people couldn't help but look at the rest of the desolate race. The gazes of Huang Di and the others fell on the battlefield without blinking. Each of them had a strong fighting spirit and looked eager to fight. Previously, when they were in the ancient, desolate, sacred region, they had only faced a limited number of geniuses. When they saw so many geniuses, they could only feel their blood boiling and their battle intent burning. They could not wait to have a great battle like Huang Li. Lu Ming, fight me if you can. What's the point of hiding? The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared. Divine fire of the great sun gushed out, forcing Autumn Moon and Huang Li to retreat. You want to fight me? Okay, I'll fight you in the life and death arena. Do you dare? Lu Ming said. His voice was filled with a terrifying, murderous intent. Life and death arena. The Golden Crow Crown Prince's heart skipped a beat. He was hesitant. He had heard of Lu Ming's combat power, but no matter how strong Lu Ming was, he was no match for him. But whoever stepped into the life and death arena would have to fight to the death. In the life and death arena, one could kill one's opponent. The Sacred Institute would not forbid it. It was very dangerous. Since the Sacred Institute's opening, there had not been many who had stepped into the life and death arena. Why? You wanted to challenge me before, but now you don't dare? You're so arrogant, but you're just a coward. Lu Ming sneered. His sarcasm was even more intense. Lu Ming, you don't know this. These people only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong. They use their power to bully others and use their connections to intimidate others. If they encounter someone stronger and more ruthless, they will immediately become cowards. Chapter 1875. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was enraged and his eyes were dark. If you don't dare to fight, then get lost. Lu Ming shouted, and his voice spread far and wide. Let's fight. Lu Ming, let's fight to the death. I will kill you today. The Golden Crow Crown Prince shouted. All right. Lu Ming's lips curled up and his eyes were cold. He said, Autumn Moon, Huang Li, back off. Let me do it. All right, haha. Huang Li laughed loudly and threw out a few more punches before retreating with Qiuyu. The Golden Crow Crown Prince withdrew his great sun Divine Flame and turned into a tall young man in a golden robe. He looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent. Let's go to the death match. The Golden Crow Crown Prince turned around and left. Mo Lang, the second Crown Prince, and the others followed. Lu Ming, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others also headed in that direction. The death match is about to begin. Let's go and take a look. The crowd watching from afar also followed. Soon, they came to a spacious area. There was a huge, purple-gold battle stage here. It was said that this battle stage was made by a martial emperor with a special medal. Ordinary martial emperors would not be able to break it. One could fight to their heart's content on it. The Golden Crow Crown Prince stepped onto the battle stage and stared at Lu Ming with murderous intent. He shouted, Lu Ming, come up and die. Lu Ming was nonchalant. He took a step forward and stepped onto the fighting ring. "Brother Lu Ming, come on. Kill him. I want to eat bird meat." Chirp, chirp. Bubbles waved her little fists and shouted. The Golden Crow tribe's sky prides were furious. This little thing wanted to eat the Golden Crow's meat. This made them angry. However, there were still people who were excited. "Is the three-legged bird meat tasty? Is it poisonous?" Huang Li had a silly look on his face. It's not poisonous, and it's delicious. I've eaten a wing with Big Brother Lu Ming before. The meat is fresh and tender, and it's really delicious when paired with good wine." Chirp, chirp. As Bubbles spoke, her big eyes narrowed as she stuck out her tongue and licked her lips with a look of reminiscence. "So delicious?" Huang Li, Huang Di, and the other youths from the desolate race grinned and stared at the Golden Crow Prince on the battle stage. They wished they could take a bite out of him. The Golden Crow, first prince, second prince, and the rest of the geniuses of the Golden Crow tribe almost spat out mouthfuls of blood while trembling in anger. However, Lu Ming just smiled faintly and said, "I'm sorry, it's not easy to raise a child at home. His appetite is a little picky. Why don't you all contribute a little?" "Contribution, your sister." The Golden Crow Crown Prince almost cursed out loud. In the end, he roared, "Lu Ming, I'll devour you today. Kill." The Golden Crow Crown Prince transformed into his true form and flapped his wings, charging toward Lu Ming. 3 incomparably sharp claws grabbed at Lu Ming, wanting to tear Lu Ming apart. Boom! Lu Ming circulated his sacred power and revealed his cultivation base. The spectators were all stunned. Peak Supreme Saint. This person is only a Peak Supreme Saint, but he dares to fight the Golden Crow Crown Prince in a death match. How dare he? This person is dead for sure. In the previous battle, only 2 people with perfect Supreme Saint physiques could fight the Golden Crow Crown Prince. This person's Peak Supreme Saint cultivation base is no match for the Golden Crow Crown Prince. This person is going to die as soon as he comes to the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. What a pity! When Lu Ming revealed his cultivation base, the surrounding geniuses shook their heads. These geniuses were very talented and knowledgeable, especially during this period of time. How many geniuses had they seen? But it was almost impossible for a Peak Supreme Saint to fight a genius like the Golden Crow Crown Prince. Even the few Elysian children would find it difficult to do so. They all thought that Lu Ming was dead for sure. But in the next moment, everyone's eyes suddenly widened. What law is that? The law of primal chaos. It's the law of primal chaos. Nest, another Elysian child. Many people shouted in shock. Boom! At that moment, Lu Ming's fist collided with the Golden Crow Crown Prince's sharp claws, causing a violent explosion. Then the Golden Crow Crown Prince's huge body was sent flying by Lu Ming, and Lu Ming's body was also pushed back. They were evenly matched. Many people's hearts trembled. Lu Ming actually blocked the Golden Crow Crown Prince's attack with his Peak Supreme Saint cultivation base. This was too shocking. Die! The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared and spread his wings, flapping them violently. He pounced on Lu Ming again and launched an even more violent attack. Lu Ming activated the suppressing hell skill, and the law of primal chaos covered his body. Every time he punched, a suppressing hell steel appeared and suppressed the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The 2 of them continued to clash, and they were evenly matched. Great Sun burns the sky. Chaotic Calamity Finger. The Golden Crow Crown Prince and Lu Ming used their divine abilities at the same time. A huge sun and a huge finger collided. The 2 of them were in a stalemate for a while. In the end, the sun couldn't win and exploded under the chaotic Calamity Finger. The Golden Crow Crown Prince frantically retreated. In the battle of divine abilities, Lu Ming had the upper hand. Now, Lu Ming's chaotic Calamity Finger was gradually approaching 70%. It was so powerful that it was comparable to 90% of a divine ability with a normal law as its core. But the Golden Crow Crown Prince's divine ability was only 80%. Die! Lu Ming charged toward the Golden Crow Crown Prince and kept pointing his finger. Several chaotic calamity fingers formed at the same time and attacked the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Crown Prince unleashed his full power. Flames filled the sky, forming suns that attacked Lu Ming. The battle platform was filled with the power of the great sun, divine fire, and the law of primal chaos. Seal! Lu Ming used the chaotic calamity finger with his right hand and used the law of array Dao with his left hand. Countless runes appeared and formed a terrifying sealing power. It directly passed through the Golden Crow Crown Prince's great sun, divine fire, and covered his entire body. The sealing power was going to seal the Golden Crow Crown Prince. This scene also shocked the other spectators. 2 laws. How can this person control 2 laws? One is the strongest law, and the other is the law of kings. Unbelievable. The spectators were all geniuses from all over the world. They had seen many things, but they had never seen someone like Lu Ming. They couldn't suppress the excitement in their hearts. Some of them even shouted. Oh no! The Golden Crow, Second Crown Prince, Mo Lang, and the others were shocked. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was at a disadvantage. At this moment, the Golden Crow Crown Prince himself was also shaken and revealed a look of shock. Lu Ming's combat power was far beyond his imagination. Break! The Golden Crow Crown Prince roared. A pair of wings appeared behind him. They shone brightly. As he flapped them, they were like a heavenly blade that slashed and destroyed the law of array Dao that covered his body. Then, endless flames spread out and destroyed Lu Ming's chaotic calamity finger. Whoosh! Chapter 1876. It's an imperial weapon. Despicable. How dare you use an imperial weapon in a fair fight? Huang Ling shouted. Despicable? This is the life and death fighting ring. There's no rule against using an imperial weapon. An imperial weapon is also a form of power. Mo Lang sneered as a smile appeared on his face. The Golden Crow Crown Prince had an imperial weapon. Even if he could not unleash the weapon's full power, it was more than enough to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I've said it before. Today is the day you die. Die! The Golden Crow Crown Prince said coldly. He had regained his arrogant look. He flapped his golden wings and charged toward Lu Ming. The imperial weapon's power was earth-shattering. Do you think you're the only one who has an imperial weapon? Lu Ming said calmly. His glabella shone, and the Tai Chi formation plate flew out. It expanded rapidly, and a Tai Chi pattern appeared on it. It charged toward the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Tai Chi formation plate was definitely a treasure on the same level as an imperial weapon. As Lu Ming's cultivation increased, the power he could unleash became stronger and more mystical. The Golden Crow Crown Prince attacked with his wings, but they were all blocked by the Tai Chi formation plate. Swoosh! Swoosh! Lu Ming took the opportunity to attack. He pointed a few chaotic fingers at the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The Golden Crow Prince narrowed his eyes, and his sacred power erupted. The pair of golden wings emitted a dazzling golden light and flew out from his body. It transformed into a huge, 3-legged golden crow. As it flapped its wings, raging flames spread and annihilated Lu Ming's chaotic finger of calamity. Suppress! Lu Ming's mind stirred. The Taiji array disc seized the opportunity to suppress the Golden Crow Crown Prince. The golden crow that was an imperial weapon let out a long cry and charged toward the Tai Chi formation plate. It slammed into the Tai Chi formation plate, causing it to vibrate and fly away. Then the golden crow flapped its wings and charged toward Lu Ming. Die! The Golden Crow Crown Prince smiled ferociously. Lu Ming stood motionlessly on the battle stage. His face was calm, as if he didn't see the incoming monarch weapon. When the Imperial Armament's Golden Crow approached Lu Ming, a pill furnace appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Great derivation, pill furnace. The great development cauldron quickly expanded to the size of a mountain. When the cauldron lid opened, it exploded with an astonishing attractive force. Come in. Lu Ming grabbed one of the legs of the great evolution alchemy cauldron and scooped up the other party's emperor weapon into the great evolution alchemy cauldron. He then quickly closed the lid. He didn't know what grade the great pill derivation furnace was, but the pair of wings couldn't charge out. Give me back my imperial weapon. The golden crown prince roared. You're still thinking about the imperial weapon? Worry about yourself. Kill. Lu Ming shouted and used the divine sword art. 2 sword beams shot out from his eyes and rushed into the golden crown prince's body. The golden crown prince's body trembled. Then the Tai Chi formation came down and a Tai Chi pattern covered the golden crown prince. Lu Ming went berserk. He raised the great development cauldron and smashed it toward the golden crown prince. Lu Ming's attack was like a storm. The golden crown prince couldn't block it at all and was hit on the head by the great development cauldron. With a loud thud, the golden crown prince was knocked dizzy. His head almost cracked open and his body crashed heavily onto the battle stage. Swoosh! Swoosh! The Tai Chi pattern turned into a yin-yang fish sword and pierced the golden crown prince's wings, causing him to scream in pain. Dong! Lu Ming raised the great development cauldron and smashed it on the golden crown prince's head again. This time, the golden crown prince was severely injured. His head cracked open and blood flowed out. The divine sun fire that covered his body was extinguished and he was on the verge of death. Lu Ming put away the Tai Chi formation and the great development cauldron and stepped on the golden crown prince's head. Stop, Lu Ming. My brother is the top prodigy of the Golden Crow clan. If you kill him, the Golden Crow clan won't let you go. The second Golden Crown Prince shouted. And the Phone clan won't let you go either. Mo Lang shouted as well. Haha! Do you think there's any room for reconciliation between the Golden Crow clan and me? Lu Ming looked disdainful. He had killed several Golden Crown princes. The 2 sides were mortal enemies. How could there be reconciliation? If he didn't kill the Golden Crown prince, would the Golden Crow clan let him go? As for the Phone clan, Lu Ming looked at Mo Lang and said, if the Phone clan wants to fight, I, Lu Ming, will accept it. As for the Golden Crown prince, since he stepped onto the battle stage, he will die if he loses. An absolute saint weapon appeared in Lu Ming's hand. He stabbed at the Golden Crown prince's head. Poof! Blood splattered everywhere. The Golden Crown prince's head was pierced by Lu Ming. At the same time, his soul was destroyed. The Golden Crown prince was dead. What powerful combat strength! This person's combat strength is too amazing. The son of chaos who controls the law of chaos is indeed amazing. He must be the 3rd person in the Origin Mountain's Sacred Academy to control the strongest law. It's a pity that his cultivation is too weak. It's difficult for him to compete with the strongest prodigies. However, if he grows up, he will be extremely terrifying. Some people around discussed excitedly. Yet another Elysian child had appeared. This was truly a golden age. Not only were the kings fighting for supremacy, but the sons of chaos were also fighting for supremacy. The second Golden Crown Prince and the others had ugly expressions, especially those from the Golden Crow clan. They revealed a terrifying, murderous intent. The Golden Crown Prince was dead. The strongest prodigy of the Golden Crow clan was killed by Lu Ming just like that. If the elders of the Golden Crow clan knew about it, they would be furious. Lu Ming, give me my brother's body. The second Golden Crown Prince said coldly. Give it to you? How can you be so naive? This is my trophy. Lu Ming smiled and said, besides, didn't you see that my friends are very interested in the Golden Crow meat? You. How dare you? The second Golden Crow Crown Prince trembled with anger and glared at Lu Ming. Why wouldn't I dare? It's not like I haven't done it before. Lu Ming smiled and waved his hand to put away the Golden Crow Crown Prince's body. He then looked at the second Golden Crow Crown Prince and scolded, "Why aren't you leaving? Do you want to fight too? I'll take it. Just you wait. Feng Wuchen is cultivating in seclusion in the Saint battlefield. When he comes out, it'll be the time of your death." The second prince of the Golden Crow was enraged, but he did not dare to fight with Lu Ming. After leaving behind a few harsh words, he left with Mo Lang and the rest. "Brother Lu Ming, you're so powerful. There's Golden Crow meat to eat." Bubbles dashed onto Lu Ming's shoulder, shouting and screaming excitedly. "Let's go back and eat the Golden Crow meat." Lu Ming smiled and returned to the mountain they resided in with the rest. Not long after, a fragrance wafted out of the mountain and spread for 5 kilometers. That night, an entire Golden Crow entered everyone's stomachs, especially the 9 desolate race elites. They ate until their mouths were filled with oil. Even the bones were devoured by the 9 desolate race youths. Chapter 1877. The first day of Lu Ming and the others' arrival at Yuan Mountain Academy ended just like that. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, they casually chose a few courtyards to stay in. Anyway, the area here was vast and empty. There were plenty of empty courtyards. The next day, Huangling Longchen and the others brought Lu Ming and the others to wander around Yuan Mountain Academy. The Origin Mountain's sacred courtyard was built by several great monarchs and other monarch experts over the course of several years. There are many wonderful places that are of great help to one's cultivation. As the group walked, Huang Ling introduced, "Indeed, in the past few months, many people have entered Yuan Mountain Academy, and with the help of the resources here, their cultivation has improved. So have we." Long Chen also said, "How many geniuses have entered Yuan Mountain Academy?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "It's beyond our imagination." Huang Ling's face was solemn and said, "The requirement to enter Yuan Mountain Academy is to reach Bright Saint Realm and have a low-grade, heavenly spirit body. This time, the 9 great holy lands, various emperor-level forces, and some ancient clans have appeared. There are more than 10,000 people. More than 10,000 people." Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. He was very shocked. There were more than 10,000 people who met the requirement. How amazing was that? These people all had the potential to become great emperors. Even if they only had the potential, it was impossible for so many of them to become great emperors. That was already very shocking. There were so many people in a generation. There were many emperor-level powerhouses in Yuan Mountain, but they were all accumulated over countless years. If there were thousands of great emperors in a generation, how terrifying would that be? Lu Ming finally understood what a golden age was. That is, at this time Lu Ming saw a stone tablet that soared into the sky. It was as high as the mountain. Even if it was far away, it could be seen at a glance. "That's the King Sage board. Let's go and take a look," Huang Ling said. Everyone moved forward and appeared under the huge stone tablet. There were names on the stone tablet emitting golden light. At a glance, there were more than 40 names. The King Sage board represents the strongest group of Saint Realm cultivators in Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. However, those who want to be on the board have to be at least Saint Realm. The Golden Crow Crown Prince was at the bottom of the list, and he has disappeared. Huang Ling explained. It's said that only 100 people can be on the King Sage board. However, since most of the people aren't absolute saints yet, there are only 42 of them. Long Chen added. Lu Ming understood. It seemed like there were only 42 people who had reached the Paragon Saint Realm in the Yuanshan Holy Academy. If everyone's cultivation base increased in the future, there would be more than 100 people who reached the Paragon Saint Realm. The Sage King board would only show the strongest 100 people. Eternal Galaxy. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the 42 names. The name at the top of the list was the most eye-catching. It was called Stellar River. Hang Xingha. This person is extremely terrifying. He is one of the sons of the heavens. He was born with an eternal body and has mastered one of the 10 strongest laws, the eternal law. It is said that this person is a descendant of the celestial emperor and has the celestial emperor's bloodline in him. Huang Ling spoke. When she spoke about this person, her expression became serious and fearful. The descendant of the celestial emperor? The celestial emperor who founded the celestial city? Lu Ming asked. That's right. Although the celestial emperor has fallen, he has left behind descendants. They are one of the strongest forces in the celestial city. Huang Ling nodded. Then, Lu Ming continued to look at the names. Luo Tsangqiong, number 10. A ray of cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Luo Tsangqiong, the number 1 genius of the Daluo Heaven sect, had taken away the memories of Autumn Moon. Lu Ming would fight with this person sooner or later. Deathblade, is he only number 12? Lu Ming whispered. Deathblade was one of the 6 silver inheritors of the Hunyuan sect. He mastered the death law and was the son of death. This was one of the 10 strongest laws. He was one of the sons of the heavens, just like Eternal Galaxy. However, there was a huge difference between their rankings. Deathblade's cultivation base is weaker, so his ranking is not high. Huang Ling explained. Then, Lu Ming saw a familiar face. Luo Tianyi, who was number 36. Is this ranking accurate? What is the basis for it? Lu Ming asked. When the Saint Academy of Yuan Mountain was first opened, all the geniuses entered at the same time. No one was willing to give in to the others. Naturally, there were many battles. Many geniuses clashed with each other. The teachers of the Saint Academy based the rankings on those battles. Huang Ling said, Isn't this inaccurate? Lu Ming asked. Yes, because some people are more low-key and did not use their full strength. Some people did not even make a move. Therefore, this King Sage board is not very accurate for the time being. Those who are ranked at the bottom may have amazing combat power. No one can say for sure. I guess it will be rearranged in the future. Also, after these few months of battles, the strongest geniuses have entered the holy battlefield to cultivate in seclusion. They are striving to break through and defeat the other geniuses. Huang Ling said. There are so many geniuses. That's great. Ha! Huang Li was excited. The other members of the desolate tribe were the same. Their eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Lu Ming memorized the dozens of names on the King Sage board. Then, the group walked to the other side. Following that, Lu Ming saw many wonderful places. Many of them were helpful for cultivation. For example, there was a place called the Divine Powers Purgatory Valley. Inside, there were powerful challenges that allowed one to cultivate divine powers. However, one had to pay a certain amount of origin stones to enter these places. This was because maintaining these cultivation grounds required a large amount of energy. Although the great emperors had created them, they did not have enough resources to maintain these places. Naturally, they had to collect the corresponding amount of origin stones. I will cultivate here. You are free to choose where you want to cultivate. Lu Ming said to the desolate tribe members. Only by choosing the most suitable cultivation ground would it be of the greatest help. I will cultivate here with brother Lu Ming. Bubbles said, Divine Powers, Purgatory Valley. We have been here for some time. Let's go to other places to cultivate. Huang Ling said, I want to go to the Divine Powers Valley. Huang Li revealed a look of anticipation. Following that, everyone separated and chose their own places to cultivate. As for Lu Ming and Bubbles, they walked towards the Divine Powers Purgatory Valley. The Divine Powers Purgatory Valley was a vast and huge valley. It was pitch black inside and nothing could be seen. It was as if it led to the abyss of purgatory. There was a mysterious array set up here. It could accommodate many people to cultivate inside. At the entrance of the valley, there were naturally people guarding it. Before entering, one had to apply for a jade token to enter the valley and deposit some origin stones inside. Then, for every day one cultivated inside, the jade token would deduct a day's worth of origin stones. If a person cultivated inside for too long, the origin stones they had deposited beforehand would be deducted. When they came out, they would have to make up for it. Chapter 1878. As soon as Lu Ming stepped into the valley, his surroundings changed. He found that he had arrived in a desolate valley. It was pitch black and there was no one around. Even Bubble was not by his side. Suddenly, a few figures appeared in front of him. They were blurry and he could not see their faces clearly. Whoosh! Whoosh! These few figures pounced on Lu Ming one after another. They were as fast as lightning. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. The law of primal chaos spread throughout his body. He circulated the suppressing Hell Heaven skill and punched out continuously. The figures also blasted out various attacks. They were either punches, palm strikes, or finger strikes. However, they all had one thing in common. They were all using the law of primal chaos. Bam! Bam! After a series of collisions, the figures were sent flying by Lu Ming. They really can use the law of primal chaos. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with surprise. He had heard Huangling Longchen and the others mention before that this divine ability, Purgatory Valley, was extremely mysterious. The figures condensed inside could use the same laws as those who entered. Furthermore, the deeper they went into the valley, the stronger the people who used the laws would be. Bam! Lu Ming took a step forward and charged at the figures. He increased his strength. After a series of explosions, the figures were defeated by Lu Ming. Although these figures could use the law of primal chaos, their power was very weak. They were far inferior to Lu Ming. Naturally, they could not withstand a single blow. After defeating a few figures, Lu Ming stepped forward. Not long after, a few more figures appeared. These figures could still use the law of primal chaos. They were stronger than the previous figures. However, they were still far inferior to Lu Ming. They were still defeated by Lu Ming in a few moves. Lu Ming continued forward. Just like that, Lu Ming defeated dozens of figures. The figures he encountered became stronger and stronger. The power of the law of primal chaos was getting closer and closer to Lu Ming's. They could even use the primal chaos finger like Lu Ming. Lu Ming finally felt the pressure. He circulated the law of primal chaos with all his might to fight the other party. Whoosh! 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 A total of 3 figures pointed their fingers at the same time. 3 huge fingers charged toward Lu Ming from 3 different directions. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and focused his mind. His figure flickered, and at the moment when his figure flickered, he pointed out 3 fingers at an extremely fast speed. Similarly, 3 huge fingers formed and pointed at the other party. The 6 huge fingers collided with each other and then froze in the air. However, in the end, it was still Lu Ming who came out on top. His opponent's Chaos Tribulation finger was destroyed, and his body was also destroyed by Lu Ming. The power of the Chaotic Calamity finger is very close to mine. If they were any stronger, it would not be so easy for me to win. However, this is good. It will help me improve. Lu Ming pondered for a moment, then stepped forward again. Not long after, another figure appeared and attacked Lu Ming. This time, the figure's mastery of the law of primal chaos was no weaker than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming engaged in an intense battle with the 3 figures. The law of primal chaos permeated the air and clashed continuously. It was extremely rare to clash with the same law. This way, he could better see his own shortcomings and improve himself. One could imagine that the great emperors must have spent a lot of effort to create such a place. This time, the battle lasted for half an hour before Lu Ming defeated the 3 figures. My Chaotic Calamity finger is close to 70%. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Previously, Lu Ming's Chaotic Calamity finger was about 69%. Now, it was close to 70%. If he cultivated like this, it would not be long before he was close to 70%. Lu Ming continued to move forward. This time, the figure that appeared was even more powerful. After fighting Lu Ming for more than an hour, Lu Ming still could not defeat his opponent. In the end, his saint power ran out and he could only retreat. As long as Lu Ming retreated, the figures would not pursue him. When Lu Ming's saint power recovered, he continued to fight. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. A few figures were fighting fiercely. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming continued to unleash the chaotic calamity finger. The power of the chaotic calamity finger suddenly skyrocketed. The chaos tribulation finger that the 3 figures had unleashed was instantly defeated by Lu Ming. The terrifying force blasted the 3 figures into smithereens. Chaotic calamity finger, 70%. Lu Ming whispered and smiled faintly. In just 2 short days of cultivating here, Lu Ming's chaotic calamity finger had broken through. The difference between 69% and 70% seemed small, but the difference in power was huge. Once it broke through to 70%, it would be on another level. For an ordinary martial artist, breaking through to 70% in a divine power would require at least a saint realm cultivation base. Moreover, the chaotic calamity finger was even more difficult to cultivate. Of course, for Prodigy, all rules were meant to be broken. This was a great place. No wonder all the prodigies of the entire Primordial Mountain would gather at the Primordial Mountain Saint Court. A cultivation sanctuary created by a few great emperors was indeed extraordinary. Moreover, there were great emperors preaching and clashes between prodigies. In this way, the cultivation speed of these prodigies would definitely increase, and they would be able to force out their potential and advance to a higher realm. Continue. Lu Ming was excited and continued to move forward. Next, Lu Ming had been cultivating in the divine power Purgatory Valley. Time passed day by day, and in the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. Lu Ming cultivated tirelessly, forgetting to eat and sleep. The chaotic calamity finger's progress was extremely fast. In less than 2 months, the chaotic calamity finger had reached 80%. One should know that the higher the level of a divine power, the more difficult it was to improve. The closer it was to the perfect stage, every improvement was extremely difficult. In less than 2 months, he was able to raise it to 80%. This speed was already very terrifying. If he were to cultivate normally, he might not be able to achieve it even after a few years. Moreover, in the continuous battle with those figures, Lu Ming's saint power was constantly being condensed and strengthened. It was rapidly approaching the great sage, perfected realm. On this day, after Lu Ming fought with 3 figures, he felt the saint power in his body surging like a flood, and the speed was unbelievably fast. I'm going to break through. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After nearly 2 months of continuous battles, his cultivation had finally reached a tipping point, and he was about to break through to the great saint perfection. Lu Ming retreated and sat cross-legged. He took out a large pile of origin stones and began to break through to the great saint perfection. In a luxurious courtyard in the Primordial Mountain Saint Court, the Golden Crow, Second Prince, Mo Lang, and the others were standing respectfully in front of a green-robed youth. The Golden Crow Crown Prince is dead? How dare you? The green-robed youth spoke. His voice was gentle, but anyone could hear the cold, killing intent in it. Mo Lang, the Golden Crow Second Prince, and the others could not help but tremble. This person was the peerless prodigy of the Feng clan, Feng Wuchen. Chapter 1879. Young Master Wuchen, it's all Lu Ming's fault. Otherwise, we would have taken down Huangling, Long Chun, and the others. Mo Lang said respectfully, Oh, I've heard of Lu Ming. He stirred up a storm in the ancient moon, sacred ground some time ago. It's a pity that the Wind clan hadn't appeared yet. Otherwise, we would have suppressed him long ago. Feng Wuchen sneered and said, Young Master Wuchen, we also mentioned your name, but Lu Ming didn't give us any face at all. He even said that if you're unhappy, you can look for him directly. The Golden Crow, second prince, added, "Arrogant and ignorant, you're courting death." Beside Feng Wuchen, another young man in a green robe said coldly. He was also a sky pride of the Wind Clan, but he wasn't as strong as Feng Wuchen. "You want me to look for him?" Fine. I'll go look for him. From now on, those people don't have to stay in the Origin Mountain Sacred Court. Feng Wuchen said indifferently. With his hands behind his back, he took a step forward and headed outside. The other sky prides of the Wind Clan, Mo Lang, the Golden Crow, second prince, and the others followed. On the mountain where Lu Ming and the others lived, two figures were fighting fiercely in a spacious area, erupting with terrifying energy waves. These two people were Long Chen and Huang Li. After 2 months of cultivation, Long Chen's cultivation had finally reached the Great Sage Great Perfection. As soon as he reached the Great Sage Great Perfection, Huang Li found him. The two of them had nothing to say and started fighting fiercely. Their battle was very similar. It was direct, brutal, and domineering. It was like a battle between two ancient beasts. Roar! Long Chen's arms swelled up several times as he activated the law of force to the extreme. Both of his fists punched out continuously. Every time he punched out, a giant elephant would soar into the sky and crush Huang Li. Huang Li's muscles bulged, and his eyes shone with a wild radiance. He roared and punched out continuously. Every punch would destroy a giant elephant. The two of them exchanged hundreds of blows before retreating to the side. They stared at each other like two savage beasts. "Ha ha ha, this is great. How about we fight another day?" Huang Li suddenly laughed. "That's what I want. Let's fight another day." Long Chen's fighting spirit was not weak at all. They looked at each other with a feeling of mutual appreciation and regret that they hadn't met earlier. The two of them grasped the same laws and fought against each other. It would be a great boost to both of them, and they would be able to better find their own shortcomings. As for the Purgatory Valley, although one could condense a figure with the same laws as oneself after entering, it was still condensed from a large array after all. There was still a huge gap between it and a true genius, a real person. Real people had their own thoughts. They were able to comprehend and see through weaknesses. Naturally, the results would be better when they fought against each other. The two of them stopped fighting and sat down cross-legged, absorbing the origin stones to recover their true essence. Not long after, the two opened their eyes at the same time and looked in the same direction. In that direction, a terrifying tornado with the power of destruction swept towards the mountain peak where they lived. "Who is it? Block it!" Long Chen and Huang Li roared at the same time. Their bodies soared into the sky and rushed towards the tornado. Both of their fists punched out continuously. Streaks of terrifying fist force blasted towards the tornado. After dozens of consecutive fist forces, the tornado was finally blocked. The two of them looked gloomy. The other party was too bold to attack them directly at their residence and wanted to destroy their courtyard. This was a slap in the face and a humiliation. In the distance, a youth in a green robe with his hands behind his back flew over. It was Feng Wuchen. Two people with a power-regal body. It's really rare. Feng Wuchen looked at Long Chen and Huang Li in amazement. "Feng Wuchen," Long Chen said with a serious expression. "This guy is Feng Wuchen. He's so pretentious. I'll beat him until he cries." Huang Li grinned, his eyes fierce. At this moment, other figures flew up from the mountain peak and came behind Huang Li and Long Chen. A few of them were the Desolate Race's geniuses, while the others were the geniuses of the Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and Thunder God Sect. At the same time, the other geniuses of the Feng race, as well as Mo Lang, the Golden Crow, Second Prince, and the others, arrived and stood behind Feng Wuchen. Both sides were ready to fight. Powerful auras clashed in the air. The fluctuations here naturally alarmed the geniuses of the other mountain peaks. Many figures stood in the void and watched from afar. It's Feng Wuchen. Feng Wuchen has come out of seclusion. I knew it. Once Feng Wuchen comes out, he will definitely make a move. He won't let Long Chen and the others off easily. I wonder how they will deal with Feng Wuchen. Looks like there will be another intense battle. Many people spoke, looking forward to it. Previously, Lu Ming had killed the Golden Crow Crown Prince. How would Feng Wuchen treat Lu Ming and the others? Feng Wuchen smiled faintly and said, "The two of you are rare talents. Join me and work for me. I will make you my right-hand men. I won't treat you badly." He still wanted to subdue Huang, Li, and Long Qin. If he had the help of two people with a regal body, he would definitely have a place in the Origin Mountain's sacred court. Work for you? You should take a piss and look at yourself. Who do you think you are? Huang Li cursed out loud. You only know how to suppress others with your cultivation level. You want us to join you? What a joke! Long Qin sneered. They were both people with the regal body. Why would they join Feng Wuchen? Did Feng Wuchen have the right to do that? Feng Wuchen's cultivation level was only slightly higher. As long as they broke through and caught up to Feng Wuchen, they wouldn't be afraid of him at all. Stubborn. I want to see what right you have to be so arrogant in front of me. Feng Wuchen's face darkened. He stepped forward, and the wind howled. Endless destructive wind appeared out of nowhere and wreaked havoc. Every gust of wind was like a terrifying destructive divine weapon, slicing through the space, causing hideous scars to appear in the space. Feng Wuchen also had the regal body. He controlled the destructive wind law and was a lesser absolute saint. Although his cultivation level was the same as the Golden Crow Crown Prince's, his combat power was much stronger than the Crown Prince's. Long Chen and Huang Li both looked solemn. The sacred power in their bodies circulated crazily. They used the extreme force law with all their might. They were like two wild beasts, ready to attack at any time. Destroy! Feng Wuchen pressed down with one hand, and a terrifying destructive wind swept toward Long Qin and Huang Li. Boom! Boom! Long Qin and Huang Li attacked at the same time. They punched continuously, and the sky shook. The air was compressed together, forming a terrifying force that blasted toward the destructive wind. The sky kept exploding, and dozens of explosions sounded. Long Chen and Huang Li's bodies shook and they retreated. Not bad. You managed to block one of my attacks. Continue. Feng Wuchen's body was wrapped in the wind. He continued to step forward. With every step he took, the wind became more violent. It swept across the sky, and the clouds in the sky were swept away by the wind. Chapter 1880. Mighty Divine Statue Fist. An elephant's roar resounded through the sky. Long Chen's Saint Force surged as he punched out. A huge, primordial dragonesque elephant appeared. It roared into the sky and charged forward. Mighty Star Fist. Huang Li punched out as well. A star appeared on his fist. It was as if he was pushing the star towards the tornadoes. Both of their fists were filled with boundless power. They could break through anything and break through the sky. The huge elephant and star collided with the two tornadoes. There was an earth-shattering boom. Finally, the two tornadoes were blocked and dissipated in the sky. Feng Wuchen's face darkened as his two attacks were blocked. He was an absolute saint. It would be embarrassing if he couldn't take down two supreme saints easily. Destructive storm blades. Feng Wuchen roared. Countless blades appeared around him. They were incomparably sharp and contained destructive power. Whoosh! 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 Destructive storm blades charged towards Long Chen and Desolate Force. Long Chen and Huang Li tried their best to block, but their cultivation levels were too low. They were in danger. Then leave these people to us. A Wind Tribe genius stared at Phoenix Palace. The others from the Divine Elephant Sect stepped out towards them. Emolang, the Golden Crow Second Prince, and the others followed and launched terrifying attacks. Spread the news. Gather everyone and defend. A Phoenix Palace genius shouted. Everyone used their voice transmission jade talismans to spread the news. Then they started to defend. Some of them were still cultivating in the Sacred Institute and weren't here. They were few in number, so they could only defend. A few youths from the desolate race stepped forward and stood in front of the crowd. They swung their huge axes and maces, sending a few geniuses flying. They're so strong. A few of them have superior heaven's spiritual bodies. These people are burly and different from ordinary people. Where are they from? Mo Lang exchanged a blow with a desolate race youth and was sent flying. His body was numb and he felt a sharp pain in his arm. His bones were almost broken. They might be from the desolate race, one of the ancient races. A wind tribe genius said. As an ancient race, they naturally knew about the desolate race. Ancient race. Mo Lang and the others gasped. The ancient race had been passed down since ancient times. They had terrifying secret techniques and had unfathomable heritage. None of the ancient races could be underestimated. Leave these desolate race youths to us. You guys deal with the others. The elite from the Fong clan spoke as a terrifying gust of wind emanated from his body. He charged towards the youth from the desolate race. Mo Lang and the others attacked the others. Although killing was forbidden in the Sacred Institute, it was fine as long as they weren't crippled or killed. They were going to beat these stubborn people from Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect half to death, and then throw them out of the Origin Mountain Holy Court. The desolate race, Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, Thunder God Sect, and other sects had fewer people. They were momentarily at a disadvantage, with some of them injured. As for Long Chun and Huang Li, they did not have it easy either. They were at a disadvantage, and they were forced to retreat. If it weren't for the fact that both of them cultivated the law of force, and that their spirit bodies were known for their strength, which meant that their defensive capabilities were equally strong, they would have already been defeated. But even so, they couldn't hold on for long. Just as they were in danger, a figure flew over from afar. Before the person arrived, a cold and hot aura burst out. Two scimitars spun rapidly, forming a terrifying destructive force that pressed down on Feng Wuchen. Autumn Moon had arrived. Yin Yang laws. Feng Wuchen's eyes narrowed. He waved his hand, and destructive storm blades slashed at Autumn Moon. They collided with Autumn Moon's two scimitars, causing sparks to fly. Kill! Kill! Long Chun and Huang Li seized the opportunity and launched a fierce attack. They destroyed dozens of destructive storm blades in succession. Their fist force was like a rainbow piercing through the sun as it blasted towards Feng Wuchen. You want to fight back? You're still far from it. Feng Wuchen said coldly. He opened his mouth and blew out an endless gust of wind, shattering Long Chun and Huang. Autumn Moon, Long Chun, and Huang. Huang joined forces and engaged in a fierce battle with Feng Wuchen. 3 perfect Supreme Saints. It's amazing, but even if the 3 of them join forces, they might not be able to fight Feng Wuchen. That's right. If there's one more person, they might be able to fight. I wonder if Huang Ling has broken through to the perfect Supreme Saint. The crowd in the distance discussed. Swoosh! Swoosh! At that moment, figures flew over from afar. There were people from Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and the Desolate Race. They had received the message and rushed over. Take my hammer! Huang Di waved his 2 giant hammers and rushed over from afar. The hammers were like a whirlwind, smashing at the Golden Crow Second Prince. The powerful pressure from the hammers shocked the Golden Crow Second Prince. He used his great sun, Divine Flame, to resist. But when the hammers fell, the Golden Crow Second Prince screamed. His wings exploded, and his body was sent flying. He was severely injured. Although the Golden Crow Second Prince was a perfect Supreme Saint, his spirit body was only a mid-grade heaven spirit body. He was no match for Huang Di and was severely injured. As the elites from the Desolate Race, Phoenix Palace, and other sects rushed back, they finally stabilized the situation. but they were still at a disadvantage. After all, the other party had elites from the Feng clan. In addition to Sky Wolf Pagoda, one family, and the Golden Crow clan, there were at least a dozen elites from the ancient Moon's sacred land who had submitted to the Feng clan. With so many elites gathered together, there were too many of them. The desolate race, Phoenix Palace, and other sects could only defend and could not counterattack. And as time passed, more and more people were injured. At that moment, a phoenix's cry resounded through the sky. A flaming phoenix flew over rapidly, enveloping the elites from Sky Wolf Pagoda and the Golden Crow clan. "It's the undying flame!" someone exclaimed. Bam! Bam! The flaming phoenix's cry caused the undying flame laws to circulate. One by one, the young elites were sent flying, vomiting blood. Some of the weaker ones were severely injured and could no longer fight. "It's Huang Ling, damn it. She has also broken through to the perfect supreme saint realm." Mo Lang roared. In the next moment, an undying flame shot towards Inkwolf, sending him flying and spitting out blood. Huang Ling had broken through to the perfect supreme saint realm. She was almost invincible among those of the same level. Even though the Feng clan had a few elites with high-grade heaven spirit bodies, they were no match for her. They were suppressed by Huang Ling and were eventually injured by her. Their combat strength was greatly reduced. With Huang Ling's addition, they immediately stabilized the situation and gained the upper hand. "Huang Ling, go help Long Chen and the rest. We can hold them off." Mu Qingxue shouted. Huang Ling had injured the strongest elites of the other party. The other party's combat strength was greatly reduced. On their side, they had the desolate race's experts working together, so they had no problem protecting themselves. All right, be careful. Chapter 1881. Huang Ling had the immortal heavenly phoenix body and could control the immortal fire law. Her vitality was extremely strong. She seemed to have turned into the immortal fire and rushed towards Feng Wuchen. She was not afraid of the destructive wind and blocked it. Autumn Moon, Long Chen, and Desolate Force seized the opportunity to attack. Feng Wuchen was pushed back a few thousand meters. "Don't think that you can win by outnumbering me." Feng Wuchen roared. His body turned transparent as if he was going to turn into a gust of wind. The gust of wind grew stronger and more intense. Tornadoes formed around Feng Wuchen. Other than that, there were also destructive wind blades. The destructive attack swept towards Long Chen and the rest. "I'll block it. You guys attack." "Immortal cage!" Huang Ling shouted. Endless flames spread out and turned into a huge flaming cage. It blocked the destructive wind and blocked it. Long Chen and Desolate Force stepped forward and appeared beside Huang Ling to protect her. At the same time, they attacked Feng Wuchen fiercely. Autumn Moon stood behind Huang Ling and the rest. He did not have to worry about his own defense and attacked with all his might. Autumn Moon attacked with all his might. His attack power was terrifying. The two scimitars were supported by the yin and yang law and had shocking destructive power. They kept attacking Feng Wuchen. The area seemed to be about to explode. The others were far away from the battlefield. The Battle of the Five Kings. 4 great sage complete realm king bodies were fighting against a lesser absolute saint king body. This was a rare sight to behold. At that moment, more and more people were watching the battle from afar. Even many powerful geniuses who were in seclusion had appeared. A group of people in white robes was very eye-catching. Among them, there was a beautiful lady who attracted the attention of many. If Lu Ming was here, he would be shocked. That lady was Xia Ninjuan. It's the ancient sacred tribe. Who is that lady? She's so beautiful. I heard that she's a terrifying genius from the ancient sacred tribe. She's very powerful. Many people looked at Xia Ninjuan and the rest and discussed secretly. But soon, everyone's attention was focused on the battle in front of them. For peak Great Saint Monarch physiques, it's really amazing. If they all break through to Absolute Saint Realm, I'm afraid they will stir up a storm in Yuan Mountain. Holy Courtyard! How strange! King physiques have always been arrogant and solitary. Why would these 4 king physiques gather together and fight against Feng Wuchen? I think it's because of someone called Lu Ming. Lu Ming! You guys have been in seclusion all this time, so you don't know. This Lu Ming just joined the Origin Mountain Academy not long ago. He is a son of chaos. What? Son of chaos? Some people exclaimed. They didn't expect another son of chaos to appear in Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. No wonder so many king bodies had gathered together. If it was because of the son of chaos, then it wouldn't be strange. Lu Ming! Xie, Ninjuan murmured as a strange light flickered in her eyes. At this time, Long Chen and the other 3 joined forces to fight against Feng Wuchen and finally turn the tables. However, Feng Wuchen's cultivation was at absolute Saint Realm, so it was almost impossible for them to win. But with the 4 of them working together, it would be difficult for Feng Wuchen to win. The battle was very fierce, but the 2 sides were evenly matched. It's really intense. At this time, a cold laugh was heard as 2 young men came together. It's them, Luo Pokong and Kong Lang. Seeing these 2 people, many people's faces changed drastically. Why are the 2 of them together? Many people's faces were solemn. This was because Luo Pokong and Kong Lang both had king physiques, and they had both broken through to absolute Saint Realm not long ago. 2 absolute Saint Realm king physiques came together. It's that bitch. Luo Pokong looked directly at Autumn Moon, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Back in the ancient sun's sacred ground, he was defeated by Lu Ming because of Autumn Moon and Lost Face. Brother Luo, do you know that woman? Kong Lang laughed. That woman is the woman that my brother Luo Sanqiang likes, but she goes against the Daluo Heaven sect every day. I don't know where she went some time ago, and I didn't expect to see her here. I'll take her down and send her to my brother. Then Luo Pokong stepped out. The penetrating law flowed around his body, and his body seemed to be able to penetrate the void. His speed was amazing, and in an instant he appeared not far from Autumn Moon. He stretched out his hand and grabbed out. His 5 fingers were like 5 long spears as they pierced towards Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon's face changed drastically. She didn't expect that someone would suddenly attack her. Luo Pokong! Autumn Moon shouted. She had to use all her strength to take back her 2 scimitars and attack Luo Pokong. But now that Luo Pokong had broken through to absolute Saint Realm, his battle strength had increased tremendously. With a grab of his fingers, Autumn Moon's 2 scimitars were knocked away. Autumn Moon, leave these people and go to my brother, Luo Sanqiang. Luo Pokong said coldly, don't even think about it. No matter who I choose, I won't choose Luo Sanqiang. Let him give up. Autumn Moon said coldly. Her master had told her that Luo Sanqiang had taken away a part of her memory in order to get her. She only had hatred for Luo Sanqiang. You don't know what's good for you. It's your blessing that my brother likes you. Luo Pokong's face sank. He kept pointing his fingers, and a terrifying spear beam pierced through the void and blasted toward Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon quickly retreated and used all her strength to resist, but she was still at a disadvantage and was in imminent danger. Not good. Miss Autumn Moon is in danger. I'll go help her. Huang Li's face changed drastically. Lu Ming was an external elder of the Desolate race. He had done a lot for the Desolate race and had a respected status. And Autumn Moon and Lu Ming had a good relationship. They had gone to the Desolate race together, so Huang Li could not let anything happen to Autumn Moon. His figure flashed and rushed toward Luo Pokong, his fists constantly attacking. You're overestimating yourself. A spear appeared in Luo Pokong's hand. With a shake of the spear, a spear beam pierced out and destroyed Huang Li's fist force, causing Huang Li to retreat quickly. On the other side, Autumn Moon took the opportunity to attack Luo Pokong. However, Luo Pokong's cultivation level was too strong. With a sweep of his spear, he destroyed Autumn Moon's attack. Huang Li took the opportunity to rush to Autumn Moon's side and joined forces with Autumn Moon to fight Luo Pokong. However, Luo Pokong also had a king body, and his cultivation level was at the absolute saint realm. Although he had just broken through to the absolute saint realm, his combat strength was slightly weaker than Feng Wuchen's, but not by much. Even if Huang Li and Autumn Moon joined forces, they were still no match for him. And on the other side, Huang Ling and Long Qin were completely at a disadvantage. In this battle, because of Luo Pokong's intervention, the situation had changed. In this battle, Huang Ling, Long Qin, and company are in trouble. They are no match for two absolute saints with king bodies. That's right, they will probably be seriously injured and thrown out of the Yuan Mountain's sacred courtyard. They will lose all their face. Some people sighed. Chapter 1882. In the divine ability, Purgatory Valley, Lu Ming finally broke through the shackles after a period of cultivation. He broke through to the great saint perfection, and his aura skyrocketed. Around him, the origin stones exploded, turning into billowing origin chi that surged into Lu Ming's body and turned into saint force. Lu Ming had two saint hearts in his body. At this time, he had reached the great saint perfection, and his saint force was extremely strong. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming's aura was retracted. I've gained a lot from this cultivation. My cultivation has broken through to the great saint perfection, and my chaotic tribulation finger has also reached 80%. It's time to go out. Lu Ming thought to himself. He had killed the Golden Crow Crown Prince last time. If the people of the Feng clan came out of seclusion, he wondered if they would take revenge. Although killing was not allowed in the Saint Court of Yuan Mountain, as long as one did not enter the life and death arena, it would be fine. But Lu Ming was still worried. Lu Ming stepped forward and went to the exit of the divine ability Purgatory Valley. He went back very quickly, and there was no obstruction. After a while, Lu Ming exited the divine ability Purgatory Valley. It seems that Bubble is still cultivating. Lu Ming smiled slightly, and then his expression changed. The moment he came out, there seemed to be a message from the voice transmission Jade Talisman. Lu Ming took out the voice transmission Jade Talisman and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. His face suddenly changed. It was a message from the people of the Phoenix Palace. Huang Ling and the others were facing a crisis at this moment. In fact, some of the elites of the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant Sect had been constantly sending him messages. Previously, he was in the divine ability Purgatory Valley and could not send messages, but they did not give up and continued to send messages. Now that Lu Ming came out of seclusion, he naturally received the news. The Feng clan and Luo Pokong. A sharp light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Then he circulated his saint force, and his body cut through the void like a ray of light. At this moment, whether it was Autumn Moon, Huang Li, Huang Ling, or Long Qin, they were all in danger. The four of them were no match for Feng Wuchen and Luo Pokong at all. Whoosh! Whoosh! The long spear in Luo Pokong's hand shot out explosively, turning into a spear beam that pierced towards Autumn Moon and Desolate Force's vital points. Every single spear light contained the power of the law of penetration. It was capable of penetrating everything, including other laws. At this moment, there were two places on Huang Li's body that had been pierced by the spear radiance. The front and back of the spear radiance were penetrated and fresh blood was flowing out. If not for the Desolate race having a special physique that made them extremely strong and resilient, they probably would not have been able to continue fighting. However, he still stood in front of Autumn Moon. The two of them unleashed their full strength and fought with Luo Pokong. Puff! Huang Li narrowly avoided a spear light, otherwise he would have been pierced through again. At this moment, Huang Ling and Long Chen's situation was not much better. Even with Huang Ling's terrifying vitality, her face was still pale. Where is Lu Ming? Where is he hiding? Tell him to come out and fight me. Luo Pokong shouted coldly. Last time, he had been defeated by Lu Ming and lost all his face. This time he had broken through to the Saint realm, so he must humiliate Lu Ming. If Lu Ming makes a move, I'm afraid you won't be able to handle him. Huang Li grinned. This person was defeated by Lu Ming the last time. Autumn Moon said, "Ha ha ha, so that's the case. So it's someone who was defeated by Lu Ming. You still have the cheek to come here?" Huang Li laughed loudly. "Shut up. If Lu Ming dares to appear, I will make him kneel in front of me and beg for mercy. Unfortunately, he has become a tortoise, hiding and not daring to show himself." Luo Pokong sneered. "Are you looking for me?" Suddenly, a cold voice came from afar. Following that, a beam of light flew over from afar at an astonishing speed. In a blink of an eye it had arrived. The beam of light did not stop as it charged straight at Luo Pokong. Large prison-suppressing monuments appeared and suppressed Luo Pokong. "Lu Ming!" Luo Pokong roared angrily as his spear stabbed out, stabbing at the prison-suppressing monument phantoms. The prison-suppressing monument phantoms exploded and Luo Pokong's body trembled as he retreated a few steps. Swish! The light receded and Lu Ming's figure appeared. "It's Lu Ming!" Huang Ling and company's hearts skipped a beat as they revealed looks of joy. Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and the Desolate Race were also delighted. For some reason, whenever they saw Lu Ming descend, their hearts would calm down. It was as if Lu Ming could turn the tide. "Lu Ming, long time no see. I wonder if you can turn the tide under such circumstances?" In the distance, Xie Nianjuan whispered among the ancient, sacred tribe, "Is this person the son of chaos?" Some people who had never seen Lu Ming could not help but whisper as they revealed looks of curiosity and anticipation. Could the appearance of the son of chaos change the situation? "Autumn Moon, Huang Li, go help Huang Ling and company. Leave this person to me." Lu Ming said, "All right." Without hesitation, Autumn Moon and Huang Li charged at Feng Wuchen. With the help of Autumn Moon and Huang Li, the situation was finally stabilized. "Haha, Lu Ming, you came at the right time. Today, I will trample you under my feet and make you suffer all kinds of humiliation." Luo Pokong looked at Lu Ming, his eyes flashing with cold, murderous intent. Now that he had broken through to the absolute Saint realm, his combat strength had skyrocketed. He was 100% confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. Just now, he had been pushed back a few steps by Lu Ming because he was in a hurry and did not use much of his strength. "Loser, since you have already been defeated once, you will never be my match in the future," Lu Ming said coldly, full of strong confidence and the belief that he would not be defeated. "This time the loser is you. Kill!" Luo Pokong's spear vibrated as hundreds of spear beams appeared and stabbed at Lu Ming. Insignificant skill. Break it. Lu Ming used the suppressing hell skill and punched out continuously. Many tall suppressing hell steels appeared, suppressing everything. Bam! 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 The spear beams exploded as they were suppressed by the suppressing hell steels, turning into energy and dissipating. Lu Ming took a step forward, breaking through the attack of the spear gleams and charging toward Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong's face darkened. His spear buzzed and stabbed at Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. Clang! A gigantic, prison-suppressing steel appeared and clashed with the long spear, colliding heavily. Dong! The suppressing hell steel's phantoms exploded as the spear vibrated. Lu Ming and Luo Pokong's bodies shook at the same time, and they retreated a few steps. Many of the onlookers in the distance were shocked. "So strong! He can fight against an absolute saint with a king-type body," someone said in shock. As soon as he attacked, Lu Ming's cultivation was exposed. He was a complete supreme saint. For example, Huang Ling and the others had to join forces with 4 king bodies to resist Feng Wuchen, and Lu Ming could fight with Luo Pokong alone. As expected of the son of chaos, his combat strength is terrifying, someone exclaimed. Luo Pokong's face darkened as the murderous intent in his eyes intensified. Kill! The long spear pierced toward Lu Ming at the speed of lightning. The power of penetrating the power of laws was astonishing. Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He stepped forward and attacked with the suppressing hell skill. Chapter 1883. That's all you got after breaking through to the absolute saint realm. What a disappointment. Lu Ming's words were full of sarcasm. Die. Annihilation strike. Luo Pokong roared as he unleashed his most powerful attack with his divine ability. Chaotic Calamity Finger. Lu Ming pointed his finger, and the Chaotic Calamity Finger exploded, clashing with Luo Pokong's long spear. Buzz! The long spear shook violently as if it was under great pressure. Luo Pokong's body shook violently as he retreated. Luo Pokong's superpower was around 85%, and it was the Law of Kings. Its power was already very shocking. Lu Ming's superpower was at 80%, but it was the Law of Chaos. Its power was equivalent to 90% of the Law of Kings. It was still stronger than Luo Pokong's. Your most powerful attack is only SOSO. Suppress. Lu Ming pointed his fingers continuously. The energy between heaven and earth gathered toward Lu Ming's fingers in a frenzy. A few huge fingers formed continuously and pointed toward Luo Pokong. Extreme penetration. Luo Pokong shouted. His body seemed to have arched, and then he shot out, bursting out with astonishing power. His long spear, with the support of the absolute realm saint force, became even more powerful and clashed with Lu Ming. Boom! 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 After a few explosions, Luo Pokong retreated again. Luo Pokong retreated while Lu Ming advanced. His right finger kept pointing, using the Chaotic Calamity Finger. On his left hand, the Law of Arrays was activated and endless runes spread out, forming a sealing power that covered Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong kept retreating, not daring to let the sealing power touch him. Luo Pokong is at a disadvantage. Lu Ming's strength is terrifying. The other geniuses were shocked when they saw this. Before, Lu Ming could resist Luo Pokong, which was already shocking. Now, Lu Ming was actually suppressing Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong, didn't you want to trample me under your feet today? Why do you keep retreating? Lu Ming's words were filled with mockery. However, his attacks did not stop at all. Instead, they became even more violent. With the Law of Primal Chaos in his right hand, he unleashed the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. In his left hand, endless runes filled the air, forming a sealing power that was about to seal Luo Pokong. Although Luo Pokong's penetrative power was strong, he was suppressed by the Primal Chaos Finger and could only retreat continuously. He was completely at a disadvantage. Luo Pokong hated Lu Ming to the core. Last time in the ancient Sun Holy Land, in the Soul Holy Palace, he was defeated by Lu Ming with his great sage, great mastery cultivation base. He was humiliated by Lu Ming in public. Now, he entered the Yuanshan Academy and broke through to the Saint Realm in one fell swoop. He was full of ambition and wanted to compete with the heroes of the world. He wanted to completely trample Lu Ming under his feet. However, when he encountered Lu Ming, he was still no match for him and was suppressed. He felt a lump of air stuck in his chest, and it was extremely uncomfortable. Wang, Wang. The fingers of Lu Ming's right hand pointed at the void continuously. Afterward, in the sky, an incomparably huge finger was formed. It was as if a god had stretched out a finger from an eternal unknown place and pressed toward Luo Pokong. The scene was extremely shocking. Luo Pokong tried his best to stab out with his spear. A shocking spear light soared into the sky, trying to pierce through the finger, but the result was that the spear light exploded and Luo Pokong was blasted from the sky and fell to the ground. Boom! Luo Pokong fell to the ground, and the ground exploded, creating a huge pit. Although he stood firm, his face was pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. I said that I can defeat you once, and I can defeat you a second time. You will never be my opponent. When you are defeated by me, you're no longer worthy of being my opponent. Lu Ming stepped forward, looking down at Luo Pokong from above. Luo Pokong's face turned from pale to ashen, and his eyes were full of anger and killing intent. You just have the upper hand for a while, and you dare to say that Brother Luo is not worthy of being your opponent. You are really arrogant. Brother Luo, let me help you. Not far away, Kong Lang said indifferently and then stepped out. Endless waves appeared around his body. Kong Lang wanted to join forces with Luo Pokong to deal with Lu Ming. All right, let's join forces and severely injure this kid, and then take him out of the Origin Mountain's sacred courtyard and cripple him. I want him to live like a dog for the rest of his life. Luo Pokong said. His voice was incomparably cold and filled with endless killing intent. He had been defeated by Lu Ming repeatedly, and his heart had been left with an inner demon. Kong Lang stepped on the waves and moved toward Lu Ming. Kong Lang is really going to make a move. Many people were moved. Kong Lang and Luo Pokong came together, and their relationship was indeed deep. At this moment, Kong Lang wanted to join forces with Luo Pokong. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, it was impossible for him to be a match for Luo Pokong and Kong Lang. It seemed that Lu Ming's side was going to lose this battle. Many people sighed. Lu Ming's side was mainly because their cultivation was too weak. If only one of them had reached the Saint Realm, the situation would not be so passive. Two Saint Realm King bodies teaming up to fight a Supreme Saint. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed? At this time, a crisp voice was heard. The voice was very pleasant, and it was unforgettable after hearing it once. Who is it? Kong Lang shouted, and his eyes swept around. In the distance, a graceful figure walked in the air. It's Luo Tianyi, someone exclaimed, recognizing the person. Lu Ming's mouth also curved into a smile. Luo Tianyi had come. Luo Tianyi walked in the air and walked toward Kong Lang. She said, "If you want to fight, I will fight with you." Humph, Luo Tianyi, you are only ranked 36th on the King Sage board. If you want to fight, I will fight with you. After I defeat you, it will not be too late to fight Lu Ming. Kong Lang snorted and walked toward Luo Tianyi. Under his feet, huge waves surged, as if they were going to destroy everything. At this time, Luo Tianyi's eyes turned pitch black, as if they had turned into two abysses. Kong Lang's body suddenly stopped. The huge waves under his feet kept rolling, and his body trembled slightly. Illusion break. Kong Lang shouted and waved his hands. In an instant, huge waves rose to the sky, as if they were going to break Luo Tianyi's illusion. However, when the huge waves rushed toward Luo Tianyi, they automatically parted, as if they were deliberately avoiding her. After a while, Kong Lang's body trembled and his face turned red. He spat out a mouthful of blood. At this time, Luo Tianyi's eyes returned to normal. She said calmly, "You are no match for me." "You." Kong Lang was shocked. They had only exchanged blows for a short while, and he was already injured. He could not break Luo Tianyi's illusion rules of order. Luo Tianyi gave him an unfathomable feeling. Luo Tianyi is so powerful. The rankings on the King Sage board are not so accurate. They cannot be taken seriously. Luo Tianyi is too low-key. Although she is ranked 36th on the King Sage board, her strength is enough to be in the top 20. Many people were shocked by Luo Tianyi's strength.